Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. And this is the week in review. Let's get right in the thick of it. Let's rip the band-aid off. I'm going to start it with a question. So, Ashton, I want you to know this question's coming to you because I know sometimes I talk fast and you kind of miss it. I'm gearing you up for a question here. Over under 70%, we can now say that Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte is the WrestleMania plan for the SmackDown Women's Championship.
Over.
I would agree with you.
Actually, you know what?
When
I want to add just a little tiny hedge,
okay,
something involving Tiffany and Charlotte, because I think there's a possibility that they could add Nia to the mix and make it a triple threat
yeah,
and make it like Queen versus Queen kind of thing, like involve the Queen versus Queen dynamic in that match.
okay.
But I do think that Tiffany and Charlotte are definitely part of the plans, at least for the WrestleMania uh, WWE Women's Championship match for sure. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. I mean that was just where my thought immediately went to now to contextualize for everybody because I know like I said we were going to get right in the thick of it. So let's work backwards a little bit. This happened because Nia retained the championship against Naomi.
With Tiffany's
But
help.
and I was going to get to that. Tiffany was Naomi was I was going to say protected. Tiffany blasted Naomi in the face with the briefcase. Nia capitalized, hence retention.
Thanks to
After the
Candace, by the way.
match,
Also, Candace was distracting the ref while Tiffany did that.
yeah, so it was a coordinated effort. And then after the match, Tiffany is trying to ingratiate herself again to Nia and to Candice and kind of says to Nia, hey, why don't you get a piece of Bianca? And I was like, hell yeah. And she goes and she starts the attack. And it seems like things are going great, but, I think the only person that really does look bad in this in a way is Nia and maybe Candice too, because again, to kind of work maybe a little too backwards, we have to remember the week prior there was a breakdown in communication. Tiffany teased a cash in, and she explicitly said to Candice multiple times, I want to be the champion. I doubt a desire that deep abates within a week. So like if I'm Candice and Nia, I don't know. Maybe I should have seen this coming. I'm not trying to, be a
Yeah,
jerk or whatever, or victim blame. I'm just saying,
yeah.
like, maybe write your characters with a bit more depth, like just to see those things through. But yeah, she clocks Nia the briefcase. Candace is like, "What the hell are you doing?" Tiffany takes her out. Uh, Nia is still kind of prone on the turnbuckles. Bianca seizes the opportunity for a beautiful looking KOD, and I will give Nia credit here too. I think she took the KOD better than I expected her to. But Bianca, she is a freak, man. I gotta tell you, I haven't really cared for this tag team stint of her career. In a way, I'm grateful she's had it because nobody ever wants another Super Cena, regardless of how good you are. So I am grateful for this era, but I'm grateful for this era paradoxically because it just makes me want to see her be in the main event again because she is so good, man. Bianca's ridiculous. So she hits that, and then Tiffany pulls her by her braid out of the ring and then throws her over the announce table, gets the prettiest moonsault ever, wins the championship. Uh our community here at TwitWoW know or should know, and if you're new, welcome. We're so happy to have you. You and I aren't exactly Tiffany Stratton fans. We have our misgivings about her both as a performer and as a person. I will say, as a cash in, this got a huge pop. Crowd was majorly into this. I thought it was well executed by all parties. It is interesting the offshoots already that Tiffany has to work with because Bianca can come in and say, "You wouldn't have been champion if it wasn't for me." Nia could do the whole betrayed angle and obviously being enraged as the ex-champion. Naomi was protected. So Naomi, who has had it back and forth, I mean, Naomi was the earliest feud Tiffany had on the main roster. So I will say, and it pains me to say this, given that I read Mark's blog post recently on how Bailey's booking needs some damage control. I recommend everybody read that. It was really well done. So kudos to Mark. But I feel like they've set up Tiffany better already with winning, just as far as feuds and potential matches. If we're waiting for Charlotte compared to how they set Bailey up after her Mania win. So that just shows you what an asset WWE perceives Tiffany to be.
Mhm.
So my first question to you was about Charlotte and Mania. Now I'm going to ask you a more general question because we do talk about this a lot. I know I try and avoid fantasy booking questions because I know you don't like those. And to be fair, I don't really like them either. How long do you see this reign going? Because I'm already thinking in my mind she's going to be a 6+ month reign type. So I'm thinking 6 months minimum. How long do you think she's going to hold the gold for?
No, I mean, here's the thing. I think that Tiffany Stratton will probably have a 6+ month championship reign in her WWE career and maybe even more than one. I just think it's really, really, really rare that anybody's first major championship reign is ever that long in this company. So I am going to officially predict that she drops it at or by Mania.
That that is sensible and that is fair. Yeah, I don't want to make a big hullabaloo about this. I really don't want to make a big hullabaloo about
Dude,
anybody I don't like. I feel like year-end awards is kind of a catharsis and a cleanse for me,
you know what?
especially for
Actually,
Cody
I
Rhodes.
am going to make an official prediction. I think she drops it to Charlotte before Mania and goes into Mania as the babyface challenger.
Interesting. Interesting. I I like where your head's
And
at.
then maybe she
Yeah.
wins it back from Charlotte at Mania as like a big coronation type thing, and that's when we get the long reign after Mania.
You know what? I really like where your head's at for two reasons. One, I think you're just using your eyes and ears and you see how over Tiffany is, whether we like it or not, and you see how over
Hmm.
she is with the company.
Yeah.
And it also it abides by your own logic because you said first reigns usually aren't that long, but future reigns could be. And so it perfectly conforms to your own logic. And so yeah, I really like how you set that up, man. I
And
might
I
even
just want to add
co-sign.
another reason as to why it makes sense. It bolsters Charlotte numbers of reigns.
That is true, and that's all it's about for Charlotte, and we won't get into that. She's not even back in the company yet. We just
And then
know
she
she's
maybe
kind of yeah.
gets like drafted to Raw or something after Mania, and then she can go after that title, whoever has it by then.
Yeah, Charlotte's just the giant
Maybe like
guillotine
Becky. It might
hovering
even
over
be
everything.
Becky by then. We might just get Charlotte Becky again. I don't know.
That is possible. That is absolutely possible. So yeah, I just thought that was the biggest thing in my mind
Yeah.
to happen this week.
It was a really big SmackDown because it was the first 3 hour SmackDown literally ever.
And I gotta say, for a first outing, while we're on the subject of things that I'm not thrilled about, I am not thrilled about SmackDown becoming a 3-hour show.
Yeah.
Uh, I've already felt for the last number of years that we are oversaturated with wrestling content, and I'm very much a quality over quantity kind of guy.
Yep.
As I assume most people are. But if you're more of a quantity person, feel free to leave a like anyway. You're safe here. Um, but for a first outing, this was solid. I did miss the beginning, and I know that it was a confrontation between Drew and Cody, and then Kevin did a little bit of an attack. Again, not trying to make a big production of anything. Year-end awards, I really saw as cleansing. Cody's going to be Cody. I thought Drew was great for what he did. I saw his tweet about why he hugged Cody weirdly in that segment. He wanted to get a closer look at that neck tattoo. I love that other wrestlers are dunking on it, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Kevin doing the attack makes sense. They want to get as much heat on him as possible. Cody would later have a segment, and this is why I really don't like Cody's promo style. And again, it's just heavily informed by bias. We know who Cody is. We've been exposed to him a lot. Most of the time, I feel like against our will.
Dude, I was
Um,
on a rabbit hole this morning. One of the reasons why I was staying up so late. You already know I stayed up way too late this morning.
yes,
Uh, I went on a rabbit hole of just WWE pops, greatest WWE pops of all time and shit like that.
yeah.
I am disgusted that these lists have been infested by Cody's WrestleMania 38 debut or return, I guess I should say. Like, oh god, what the fuck, man? What is
Speaking
wrong
of
with wrestling?
infestings and disappointments, don't be too angry with me. But speaking of pops, I did already put Tiffany winning the title as an early candidate for Pop of the Year because that crowd was rabid for it.
Yeah,
Like
that's fair. That's reasonable.
they yeah, they really were into it. But yeah, Cody, it just to me, and again, biased glasses, all that stuff. I will cop to all of that. I will own up to all of that. But yeah, just when he was talking to Nick Aldis backstage, and Aldis who, you know, obviously when I'm turned up and I'm trying to enjoy the wrestling, I'm against because he's very anti KO and I'm very pro KO in this house. Um, he's like, "Oh, Cody, you know, it seems like you're trying not to make it before Rumble." And then Cody, he even has this line, and I guess the leftist in me kind of jumped out, where he's like, "You know, Nick, I think he was like, you don't get told this often, or you're probably not told this often, but you're a great boss." And I'm like, "Oh God, Cody, the corporate kiss ass." But you know, he said, "As a boss, you can make me do all the media engagements and this and that, but as a champion, I have the right to call my shot." And I can't help but roll my eyes every time that this dude opens his mouth. I don't really care for it. He also circles back to Drew McIntyre and Drew kind of messing with Cody a little bit because, you know, with this whole wormhole thing they got going on. Drew, who let's, you know, remember, I don't know if it was the first time Cody challenged Roman or the time when he actually beat Roman, you know, last year. Drew did beat Cody on an episode of Raw. It was a rare L that Cody took, singles. So if you wanted to do Drew Cody for the title, I would be rooting for Drew with everything in my being because I fucking love the man. But it also makes logical sense. Drew has proven he can beat Cody Rhodes. So that may be a feud that they're looking to do in 2025. And I would be here for it as much as I can be here for anything involving Cody Rhodes. So yeah, that whole opening segment was decent. Um, and then we get Nakamura versus Andrade. You're a big fan of both guys. What did you think about this match, man?
I honestly didn't pay as much attention to it as I should have. I mean, I'm sure it was a solid match, but I just wasn't hooked.
You know what, man? That's fair. I'd like these guys to have an actual program that bleeds into pay per view because I feel like pay per view traditionally usually gets more time, or at least it should. According to the recap I'm reading, this match got 9 minutes. I feel like these guys could go 15. And I will say personally, I'm loving the Nakamura gimmick. I'm loving just everything he's doing. So this is not a knock on Nakamura. Oh, look at that alliteration going on there. But it's more talking about the booking. I really wanted Andrade to win here. And Nakamura winning, it's not surprising. It's just dispiriting. Because I even said that, and you know, even though underrated is by the fans per our metric, I even explained that to Super Blue when he was asking about our earned awards. Underutilized is company based, or utilization is company based. Rating is just more fan based. So when we say overutilized, company problem, overrated fan problem, underrated fan problem, underutilized company problem. So even though I did say Andrade is underrated, you could very easily say, in my opinion, he's underutilized. I would love for him to get a non-title win and get in the mix, but LA Knight's still the priority, who again, much like Cody and others, Tiffany Stratton, you know, we're just not a big fan of over here. In fact, thinking of the whole wormhole thing, I kind of low-key hope SmackDown gets a glow up a little bit. Because I'm realizing how many people are on there that we don't necessarily care for that are getting pushed like actively. And I will say too, LA Knight called his shot later, and I think he said next week he was going to be getting his United States Championship rematch. Cut a promo on Nakamura. I'm not even going to talk about that because again, we try and save time by not talking about things that we just do not care for, people we do not care for. But he said he was getting his title match next week, so we know that's happening. And he also already is talking about Rumble and you know winning the Rumble, which makes sense because the WWE's already talking about Rumble because we know we're doing Cody Kevin in a ladder match for the championship. So that was the United States Championship picture. And yeah, I'm just hoping that LA Knight doesn't get the title back, which I know Nakamura's reign just started, but there's plenty of history to show championships being hot potatoed all the time. So you never know.
Mhm.
Um, One of my favorite moments on the show, and I'm really hoping these guys have a better 2025 because that could be great content for me. Pretty deadly being confronted by Apollo Crews. And one of them says, "Well, if it isn't Apollo Stooge," and I will admit I am a child and I popped. I thought that was hilarious.
Nice.
So I very much was into it. I very much was into it. I you know what, man? Again, I don't mean this to be like a fantasy booking question, so I'll ask you like this. I know they're not necessarily doing anything with Apollo, but what do you think about their utilization of him as kind of like this truth teller sort of thing? Do you think it's going to bleed into anything, or maybe he even teams with Street Profits in a match, or like goes against Pretty Dead, like,
Do you think they're
or
trying to
is he
build
just the
him
guy
up
like,
as like a spiritual successor to R-Truth?
you know what? Maybe, maybe he's our truth. I'll always tell a truth because the A is for Apollo. It works. It works. Uh, he got to reach a
Oh
little bit,
my
but it
God,
works.
they're gonna change his name from Apollo Crews to A-Truth.
And then our truth, just given his whole character the last, I don't know, decade, uh, just gonna be like, oh my God, are we related? And then Apollo's just gonna be like, I don't
I
think
never
so.
seen you at the cookout.
I heard that in his voice, and yes, that's a canonical line now. Um, but no,
or,
like,
or at the family reunion. Jesus Christ.
yeah, I'll tell you, like, Apollo is such a weird case
Oh
because
God.
I think he's solid in ring. I don't even necessarily think he's like a bad performer because that Nigerian gimmick I genuinely liked. In fact, low key, I wish it was still here until Oba showed up and he would powerbomb the Nigerian gimmick right out of him. Um, but yeah, like he's just a guy. He's never really gotten to that major level, and so it's just kind of weird that he's kind of meddling in this stuff after Temu Bloodline. Which, by the way, I can't believe that I remembered this, but I smirked watching SmackDown last night. There was a guy with a sign in the crowd on SmackDown that said that Solo is a Temu tribal chief. Uh,
Nice.
and I'm like, oh man, it's real.
It's canon.
So yeah, very interesting that Apollo is kind of in this role right now, and I don't know what it's going to bleed into. But what I did like was Legato confronting Pretty Deadly, and it doesn't devolve into a full-on backstage like brawl or skirmish or whatever because they break it up quick. But Aldous is like, oh, I want to talk to you guys, meaning Pretty Deadly, and yeah, he's like, Apollo said the DIY tagged Street Profits. So what's that about? Which, by the way, unless I miss something, and I'll have you kind of either vouch for me or just say that you don't know either. Were Street Profits not even on this show tonight, man? Because I don't remember seeing them on the show.
I don't think they were. Let me check my go-to rundown website. No, they weren't.
Don't you, am I the only one, or am I like
You know
maybe
who
being
was
too
though?
critical
Motor
for
City
that?
Machine Guns and DIY.
Yeah, like, am I the only one, and I don't want to be too critical here, that just finds it a bit odd given that Apollo Crews told them the week prior the DIY did it? Like, if I'm Street Profits, I'm thinking, like, okay, well, first of all, we got to square things up with Pretty Deadly because they lied to our faces. And then we got to get after DIY. And it bodes well for us anyway because they have the titles. It is really weird to me. Okay. That explains it. Foster coming in with the Profits are injured. Well, then I stand corrected. Criticism redacted.
They
I
are
apologize.
injured, both of them?
Well, here's the thing. Wouldn't even have to be both of them because even if it's just one, WWE is horrible about booking tag teams as singles when one partner's out. When one partner's out, the tag team's usually damned,
Oh,
unfortunately.
fucking hell.
Dude, I know. Especially because, and here's the thing, even if it was Ford, Dawkins has put in the work. You could keep Dawkins on TV. There is
You
no
could
reason why
build
you can't
up
be using that dude.
Dawkins to challenge Nakamura for the IC title and lose. Or the
Yeah,
US title and lose.
yeah. Like, or hell, dude, I mean, Gargano and Ciampa were also singles company. They're both former NXT world champions.
Yeah.
You could have Dawkins carry this feud. And I don't know how long one of them is going to be out, but if we knew it was going to be long, you could still tie up the loose end, be like, Ford isn't here. If it's Ford, I mean, obviously you can flip it if it was Dawkins. I'm just saying, I know people don't really see Dawkins as much of an in ring guy. That's why I'm using him. He could say, look, Ford may be out, but BFAB and we're still here and I'm getting mine. And he starts something, and then maybe he ultimately loses that struggle, because two is greater than one, and we do the basic math shit.
Wait,
Uh,
no, 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 no. This, I'm calling bullshit on this. This is kayfabe. This is kayfabe injury bullshit. I'm calling
what did you
that
see?
right now. But what I'm seeing is this is like Nick Aldis put out an announcement on WWE's official Instagram saying, due to the Street Profits injuries, DIY will now defend their tag titles against MCMG on SmackDown. This was Friday night.
Huh. Okay. Well,
They're both out with injury. It's just incidentally they both happen to be out with. I'm guessing.
yeah, I see what you're saying. I see what
Yeah,
you're saying.
no, this isn't like a real life. One of them's injured and they're not going to push the other one type thing. This is kayfabe bullshit.
Fair enough. Still, my original criticism is still redacted because at least they're writing into the story. So, it's on me for not keeping up with all the story beats. Apparently,
So,
um,
do we remember how long ago it was that we got the okay, you know what? So, we know that the Street Profits did the beatdown on Los Garza on December 27th episode of SmackDown. That was trying to get revenge for the assault that they suffered at the hands of what we can only assume was Gargano and Champa originally, right?
yes.
So, now all this is saying that they suffered injuries on a recent live event or at recent live events. So I'm assuming that they're going to try and build that into the story and say that was Gargano and Champa still too.
Okay.
So it's
Which
Gargano and Champa ducking.
which if that's the case, Street Profits need to win those titles when they finally end the ring with DIY. Because
Honestly, at
like
this point, you could build it up all the way to Mania and have them win them and have a proper fucking tag team coronation for the Street Profits, and I would love that.
I would love it too. Because here's the thing, like you've got the groundwork right there. When a heel team is so scared of you, they're getting the jump on you at every opportunity so they don't have to formally get in the ring with you. Like, yeah, you ride that shit to Mania if possible. And yeah, you properly anoint these guys as like, yeah, this is the tag team of SmackDown or just even WWE, because God knows New Day, they've gone in a different direction. And then you really give the Street Profits that hard push that I thought
Yeah.
they were gonna get when they did beat the New Day, all the way back.
I do want to go out of my
Um,
way to thank Alex Foster though for pointing out the whole injury thing. Like I know that he said that they were injured and he didn't know that it was an angle at the time, but he still led me to googling it and led me down the angle or the rabbit hole that eventually led to us figuring out what's actually going on here. So appreciate that, Foster.
Absolutely, Foster. Love you so much. So yeah, I think that puts a nice pin on the tag team scene. Really just rooting for Street Profits though. I've been loving their justified indignation and their sense of justice for themselves pursuing those titles. I am rooting for them hard. Um Piper versus Michin. I'm also enjoying what the Women's United States Championship picture is doing right now. This is very basic by the number storytelling, but it's effective. Michin wants another shot. She knows she can beat Chelsea, but Chelsea is putting the wall up to Michin in the form of Piper. And so, yeah, Michin does win after a pretty decent match. I don't think anything for Piper in a good while is going to top the TV match she had with Bianca. That was really good, but I enjoyed this. Um, have to wonder if they really are building up for Piper to turn face and beat Chelsea at WrestleMania, possibly for the Women's United States Championship. I mean, it's got 2 nights now, so you've got a lot more breathing room to do shit. Um, but I do hope one day Michin gets her due. I do hope one day we can call her a future women's US champion or a continental champion or something, because she's a solid promo. She's not even bad on the mic. That's the thing. I think much like a Hardy or more appropriately a Daniel Bryan, she's got a sincerity to her. And I like her. She's got a magnetic personality and she's really good in ring. So like, yeah, get some hardware on her.
Yeah.
Then we get the wise man, Paul Heyman. Um, I gotta be honest, man. I love Paul to death, his Cobblepot's LARPing ass. But I gotta tell you, this promo, it was good, but I'm really not liking WWE lately, and we've kind of called this out for a little bit, kind of memory holding us. When you look at the Kevin Owens feud, like, oh, Randy was his first real friend. Laughs and Sami Zayn, hello. They tried to memory hole us about something else. And then here, Paul's saying, like, oh, Roman Reigns and we were grooming Solo to be the next tribal chief. No, you weren't. For a good while, that was very clearly going to be Jay's spot. He was called the right hand man. Now, maybe after Jay got excommunicated, you shifted to that.
Well, no, because remember during the whole angle with Sami Zayn, and granted, I will give you that it definitely was clearly meant to be a punishment for Jay. But it was long before Jay got excommunicated. Roman did name Solo like basically like the heir to the tribal chief. Like he did name him that. He did do that.
Okay, then I stand corrected. In which case, I will say, this is just classic Heyman stuff. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I will say it didn't make a candidate for my funniest moment of the year by any means, but I did chuckle a bit when Solo came out and Paul Heyman said, just to let you know, I'm 10 seconds away from pissing my pants. Uh, and he said, because the last time we did this, the last time you were in here and I was in here, you you powerbombed me through a table. And I know if I take one step, Tonga Loa and Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu, they're all going to be out here and they're going to, put a hurting on me. And I will admit that I was getting food at the time because this is when you and I called an audible to do TJPW. So I wanted to eat my big meal early so I would be ready for that recording. So I missed the tail end of the segment, but I know that Solo wanted Paul to be trusted with the Ulafala because he knows that Paul respects the family and everything else. And so he thought that like he would be a good guy to bear witness to tribal combat. I'm gonna ask you something here, and again, I'm trying to frame it in such a way that it's not like making you do the work. I I do think Paul Heyman is babyface right now, but he has such a history as a character of being a worm and a backstabber. Do we think there's any possibility he betrays Roman somehow here in tribal combat? Because
I
like I
mean,
don't think so, right?
they could
But I
obviously write it to happen and it
yeah.
would happen, but like I think it would be a hell of a fucking stretch to try and justify it.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. See, here's the thing. I agree with you. Like, I know this is just me being irrational, right? Because I've seen Heyman betray Brock Lesnar twice. I've seen Heyman when he was with Big Show. Secretly also manage Kurt Angle. Like he betrayed RVD and ECW to get the ECW championship or WWE ECW for all the diehards. It's like that wasn't ECW. I've seen him betray RVD in the new ECW to put the title on Big Show. Like this CM Punk, he just does it over and over. And I'm like, would he have it in his heart to betray Roman Reigns? But that would feel like the most inauthentic betrayal. I agree with you. I guess it's just with me. I've been socialized to see Heyman a certain way, and so yeah, it's just something in the back of my mind. But again, I will take that upon myself. That's my own irrationality talking because Solo does say, that when he beats Roman, Heyman will put the Ulafala around his neck, and then everyone will know that it's Solo's and that he owns that, and he also owns Heyman. Solo told Heyman he'll be the Solo's wise man forever. Solo said that Roman will have no choice but to finally acknowledge Solo, and then that was that. I will say, for as much as I love Heyman's mic work, especially in his later years, I've appreciated every era of him as a character over time as I've gotten older. But the stuff that I've actually been experiencing in real time, I've really grown to appreciate. That said, I really, really wish we would have gotten to see the Armando Estrada rumor be true for Solo being his wise man because Solo feels so different from Roman. I don't want him to wear Roman's clothes. I want him to fashion his own, you know? So Heyman being his wise man, if that would happen, I honestly don't know how tribal combat's going to go because I've had several different ideas in my mind. But we're reacting to it this Monday. So thank you, Sean, because that was news that came in today. So all will be revealed soon enough. But yeah, I do wonder what could have been if those rumors actually bore fruit, and we could have seen Estrada do his thing. Because I feel like Solo has developed his comedic chops a little bit in this role, and he's kind of figuring out what being tribal chief means to him as distinctive from Roman Reigns. And I feel like Estrada and him could have had some. I don't know. I feel like there might have been chemistry there. Heyman though, he's a consummate pro. I just don't know if he's a good fit for him. It's like, to me, Heyman being with Solo, if it would happen hypothetically, it would be on par with when Heyman was with Axel or with Ryback. It's like just because it's Paul
So
Heyman.
legendary.
Well, Ryback more so than Axel. I feel like it did nothing for Axel. Maybe Cesaro is a better example. You know, the one guy might be good, and Solo is growing on me, so I'm not about to diss him. But for me, I don't think he would be as good as Cesaro. I love Cesaro in WWE, and Heyman might be who he is. That doesn't mean it's going to work though, and that's kind of how I feel about this prospective pairing. So, yeah, tag team championship, DIY, machine guns. Really, not much to say here. It ends in a no contest because Pretty Deadly try and screw over the machine guns because DIY alluded to the fact, if you help us, we pull rank around here. We decide who gets title shots, and you just might be next in line. Yes, boy, they popped hearing somebody else use their catchphrase. I can't say I blame them. I too have the same amount of ego. And so, they're thinking, oh, if we help them, they'll scratch our back. And well, they did kind of, but Motor City Machine Guns being those indomitable baby faces, they kick out and they keep the match going. It seems like they're going to get a double submission, but then LDF, come out and they kind of continue what they started with Pretty Deadly, and that spills into the ring, causing the no contest. So I wonder if we're just going to get some kind of a smudge kind of affair in the future. Motor City Machine Guns, DIY, Pretty Deadly, and Street Profits, you would hope, all for the tag belts. But then I hope we whittle that down to DIY versus just the Street Profits. It needs to be a one-to-one thing. I'm tired of the tag team division on the main roster not getting proper fucking stories if you're not the Usos or the New Day. Like there are other great tag teams. Let them show what they can do with a story. And I love the Usos and the New Day. I don't mean that as a diss, but like those are the only ones that have gotten that kind of treatment. So let's work to change that. We already talked about Nia versus Naomi. We opened the show with that actually. And then
Wait, Nia and Naomi opened the show?
no. I'm saying we opened our show talking about that because I
Oh,
talked
right.
about Tiffany. Yeah. Um. So yeah, I know you pop for this because I'm reading now about the 6-man tag kind of main event. Sammy Uso. I know they have Sami Zayn on the graphic, but he's Sammy Uso. Damn it, when he's running with these guys,
They
and
announced him as Sammy Uso. I think it was Lillian actually. Yeah,
that's beautiful.
she did. She said it was like Sammy, Jimmy, and Jay, the Usos.
That you know what, Lillian, +5. Yes. Yes, that's how it should be. Versus the Bloodline represented by Solo, Jacob, and Tamatonga. I know you popped for one point. I don't know if we talked about this or if you just mentioned it in the Discord. Again, this was something that I mainly missed. I was very inattentive to this, to be honest. But apparently, Jacob's I love you solo, which won my catchphrase of the year, and I think
Our,
yours too. We shared that one.
yep,
Yeah. It's getting over with the crowd now.
yes. They're starting to say it along with him when he says it.
Would anybody be perturbed? Because I know we're making a good pace. If I share some like fantasy booking I thought about with Jacob, because I
Please
had this
do.
thought.
Please do.
Like, I would find it fascinating, and I will try and keep this brief. I'm not going to do a whole comprehensive story. This is more just a suggestion. I would find it fascinating if somehow, if we're making this tribal chief thing like an overarching concept, like even after Roman leaves potentially, because look at what he's built. I would love if Jacob Fatu got to be tribal chief during his WWE run at some point.
Ah.
Because like I look at it it's so funny I'm saying this because it's like, John, when will you learn? Like, open your goddamn eyes and like pay attention. Because it is, in my mind, a kind of redemption story, and WWE has shown that they are okay at that at best, bad at worst, right? But like, I was just thinking, you know, Jay Uso was like, he's not even allowed in the family. Like, he's outside the family. What are you doing bringing him here? Everybody on commentary is like, oh, he's a madman, whatever. We've heard about this guy. Paul Heyman in his promo on this recent SmackDown was like, oh, Jacob, he's not even allowed to be in certain countries out of the U.S. Imagine
Oh,
if a
dude,
guy,
he literally said Jacob's not even allowed in the U.S. outside of the prison system.
yeah, yeah, like, imagine this guy so stigmatized by his own family
Yep.
rises to the old like
Oh, buddy,
dude.
I can hear it in your voice. You're going into that like John dreaming about WWE doing a story that is really beautiful, but completely antithesis to
It's
the
not
types of
happening.
stories they tell
No, it's not happening.
territory.
I'm just very excited about the possibility that
Yeah.
we create here. Because WWE will have no interest. But I will say, Jacob Fatu is so good. And again, I didn't see this match. I'm not saying this in the context of this match. I'm speaking generally. He is so good that again, if this tribal chief concept is an overarching thing, I could buy it. And I think it would kind of cement his top face status. Because I do see this guy being a top babyface in the future. If he's already getting this shit over, how over is he going to be when he's fully off the leash
Mm-hmm.
and he's fully seasoned and he's like, okay, Jacob, now the real work begins. Now you get this is your push. This dude, like, I don't want WWE to let me down. They will. I don't want WWE to let me down because you've got Braun Breaker, who I think is already doing great. Obafemi is on the come up, and he's already making things happen in NXT. Trick Williams, you have got guys that, like, for what wrestling is today in WWE and where they're branching out and what they're doing, you have got the perfect guys for the era you're setting up for yourself. And I would put Jacob Fatu on that fucking list. This dude, I can't believe he's getting this shit over. I love that for him.
I feel like
But
the tribal chief journey, like the tribal chief sort of um story, I guess you could say, is kind of over its first arc, which is just like the big long Roman championship reign. That was like 3.5 years or whatever. That was like the first arc. And this feels like the second arc, which is like the struggle of two tribal chiefs. It's Roman Reigns trying to rise back to power while Solo Sikoa has taken the throne and brought in these fucking I don't know, these like rebel soldiers basically, like Tama and Tonga and Jacob. And there's like this big epic story being told there. I'm wondering what the next arc is going to be though. After Roman gets the Uafala back, after Roman becomes the tribal chief again and actually like takes the throne again. Assuming that happens, I'm just going to assume that is going to happen.
yeah,
What is the next big arc in the story? Part of me has to wonder if it's going to be Jacob. If it's going to be Jacob wanting to usurp Roman and Roman actually just not being able to fend him off. Because like we know Roman can 1v1 solo and win. But we also know that he attempted to 1v1 Jacob and lost. And that might have been planting the ultimate seed for that third arc where Jacob just decides, like, why do I have to be subservient to you when I'm better than you?
yeah. You know what? Staying grounded and staying within the confines of WWE logic. I already expressed my idea. That's the end of it. Uh, I could see that. I will say, I wish. Now, I want to emphasize the language of wish here. I don't want to project on WWE. I wish they would let if Roman does just reclaim the Ulafala, which again I'm torn about. I'm not certain on anything to be quite honest. That they let it breathe and maybe they let Roman kind of see how he failed in his governance and his conduct the first time and try and be a different kind of tribal chief. But you see him kind of struggling with that because maybe he's tempted, by the world championship say or something else, or maybe somebody pushes his buttons like a Kevin Owens, and then he's like, well, no, the old way is going to be the way that fixes it. Because when I did things the old way, he stayed down, even though, you can't keep a good Kevin Owens down. We all know that, Roman. But, I don't know. They may just embrace that, yeah, he's fully faced now, despite whatever our misgivings on a deeper level with his writing as a character. And then just keep Jacob Fatu the same way as, oh man, you can't have this outsider be tribal chief. You got to keep that within the recognized family, which, I have my own misgivings about that, but that's neither here nor there. Could be a very interesting program. I'd be very interested to see those two go one-on-one for sure.
Yeah.
Um, I wanted to ask you, though, were you, I'm assuming you were more attentive of this match than I was. Did you have any other notes you want to make about this match besides Jacob getting the I love you solo thing over that I know you noted in the Discord?
Yeah, I just also love that Temu Bloodline, even though we keep calling them that, and that's meant to be an insult, at the end of the day, they continue to succeed. They continue to win. Uh, and a lot of it is just because, like, Roman refuses to partake. Roman refuses to do his own dirty work. He is just continuing to let his pawns die at the hands of the other team's king while he sits on his fucking throne of trash, basically.
Yeah.
Like, Roman is the king of nothing. And he's convinced
Yes.
himself that being the king of nothing makes him better than the king of an actual kingdom. And he is above participating in the actual skirmishes. So he's not participating in these fights, these matches that are like the tag matches and stuff like that. He will only wrestle at big pay-per-views when there's something on the line, basically. And now he's going to be doing this Raw Netflix singles match. But like, yeah, like, you know what? Solo is also going to be in this Raw singles match, and he helped his team win today or yesterday. So yeah,
Yeah,
like,
like, when you put it that way,
yeah,
like, who's acting more like a tribal chief right now?
exactly. That's,
I
dude.
don't.
I literally said explicitly in the Discord last night during SmackDown, Solo's the better tribal chief. Just straight up, he is.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Yeah, because I'm not even gonna add anything to what you said. You laid out your case impeccably, and like I don't see any holes in your logic or anything. I can't be like, but it's Roman Reigns. We don't do that here. When we have serious discussions, logic abides. So yeah, I mean, Solo's just the better tribal chief right now. So I don't know. Um, I just worry about Solo, and again, I want to be gentler. If I don't like somebody, I just say I don't like them and move on. I don't feel that way about Solo, so I want to be tender when I say this. I don't know if he would win, if that would be like too much for him. But I guess he's already kind of finding his footing in this spot, and they've kind of treated him like an upper mid card main event guy for a while now. So like, what's one more thing really going to do? Uh, but yeah, I'm. You know what I will say. I I'm it's not that I'm rooting for Solo, but I am looking forward to the match more than I thought I was. Because I'm like, will Solo actually pull it out? Because in my mind, I don't know why Sammy and Jimmy and Jay, the Usos, thank you again, Lillian, keep going to bat for this dude. Whereas I will perfectly understand why Tama, Tonga, and Jacob all keep going to bat for their dude, because it's like, okay, well, he fights on the front lines with us,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, I think again you put it impeccably. They do win. Jay ate the pin, which surprised me after a Samoan spike. I thought Sammy would eat the pin, to be honest. And really, let's be real, I was hoping for Jimmy Uso to eat the pin. But that did not happen. So that was SmackDown. Fun show. Sounds like it was a fun main event that got a lot of time. According to this recap, it was 22 minutes. That's a good amount of time for a TV main event, especially to cap off first 3 hour SmackDown. So now we can move on to NXT, I would say, unless, I don't know, maybe we should talk about Raw. Do you have a preference for what show you'd like to talk about next, bud?
Raw. Let's save NXT for last.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk about Raw. We open with The New Day, but they're very sour, even though you shouldn't dare be
So
sour.
much heat.
Yes, dude. This crowd really is like, how could you do this to us? And meanwhile, Kofi and X are like, do what? Like, sever a friendship? Don't you people do that all the time? Hell, I'm guessing some of you people, I wish they would say this if they could get the words out. Some of you people in the audience have either have probably ghosted somebody straight up. We didn't ghost E. We told him to his face how we felt. Like, if anything, we did the emotionally mature thing. And then the crowd just doubled down, because I don't really think it's emotionally mature to tell a friend of yours you broke your neck. So
So
what?
what?
Damn,
That
Kofi,
should have
you
been a
said it.
contender for quote of the year just for how evil it is.
I meant to add it, and then I'm like, no, like, I don't know. It was a weird segment. I'm still waiting for that big payoff, WWE. I hope it happens. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so they try and talk, they can't. Jay Uso comes out, and Jay Uso more or less is like, and again, great crowd control from Jay. Says, I only have one thing to say: New day sucks. And then they kind of scowl. And Xavier tells Jay, you better watch yourself. So I don't know, man. Everybody is beefing with everybody, and I need everybody to take a weed gummy and chill the hell out. Because like everybody wants to fight everybody. And I'm like, damn, Pierce, get a lid on your show. Um, Jay, though, said he wasn't here to talk about that. He wanted to talk about just Roman Reigns, and now he's gonna beat Solo next week. And then Solo interrupted him with a screen promo. Said he took care of Sami Zayn. They made a huge mistake siding with Roman because he's gonna beat Roman and all that stuff. And as he's distracted, Drew attacks and kind of lays Jay out, but company officials and stuff get in, they intervene, and Drew looks like he's gonna walk away, but then he sprints because he's like, no, I gotta hit this Claymore, and he hits the Claymore. And so yeah, he lays him out. I gotta tell you, man, Drew is one of those physiques that I never really tire of admiring because that dude is carved from fucking mountain stone. Jesus Christ.
Marble.
Exactly. And that Claymore still makes me pop. I don't give a fuck. We then got Chad Gable versus Otis. It was an okay match. I really wish that they would have let the storyline fully breathe and culminate on a PLE, with Otis going over, preferably. Gable actually won here because Ivy Nile provided a brief distraction, allowed Gable to get the ankle lock and the submission on Otis. So good job there for him, I guess. Um, and then, we get a Judgment Day segment. They're still kind of going through their stuff. And, Finn, I guess, gave Liv more credit. I don't really have context for this. I don't think I saw this segment. Said Liv, has a plan for everything. Finn once again tried to get that whole when they listen to Finn, they win thing over. I feel like he's becoming the Gretchen of the group, and this is his fetch. And I just need to tell Finn.
Never going to happen.
Exactly. Finn, look, I love you, but listen to the man. It's not. It's not. And let's be real. I mean, you didn't win at Saturday night's main event, and you didn't win on the Raw after. So I don't know if they're listening to Finn. Who's Finn listening to who? Who's watching the Watchers, Finn? But yeah. After that, okay, yeah, we got R-Truth doing some stuff. Again with Pete Dunne. I never thought I'd say this because I know he's so much older in a later stage of his career. But man, I feel like this is a waste of R-Truth, actually, not the other way around.
Dude, right though? It's so true.
Like, R-Truth is gold. To be honest, again, I don't know if I'm being a little much here, but I kind of am offended on Truth's behalf, not just because of this angle, but I feel like he's done quality work enough that I know he got the tag title run with Miz recently. I still wouldn't mind him with one more singles title run, preferably mid-card, of course. I don't think he's working like any main event stuff anytime soon. I feel like the one time they did try and push him in the main event against Cena, that match, Capital Punishment, remember when they tried to make that a PLE? Or I guess pay-per-view still at the time, but you get my point. Yeah, that match wasn't very good, but I think in the mid-card, Truth could still have a lot to contribute, so him getting one more mid-card title reign, I think, would be really cool. And yeah, Butch just kind of attacks him. Sorry, Pete Dunne.
Peter Dune.
Yeah. And then Dakota and Io both said that it'd be great to face each other in the finals. Spoiler alert, ladies, that's not happening. At least one of you made it, at least, because Dakota did beat Zoe, which I was very happy about.
Yes.
And I know you were too. So yeah, she beat Stark, and then as you predicted, man, and as we all kind of speculated in our Discord community,
I was very happy about this too because I do like Lyra, and I was not hoping to see Io versus Dakota because I don't want damage control tension. No, thank you.
No, and that's the thing. If you're an Io fan, this is ultimately a positive because, as people noted in the YouTube video that I watched the recap of this because I really wasn't that attentive to Raw this week, admittedly, Io's Rumble chances just shot back up because of this.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah, I didn't even think of that, but yeah, I know Mark pointed that out in the Discord after this happened.
Yeah, like I'm not the biggest Io fan relative to you, of course. I respect the hell out of her. But like even I can say you don't waste a talent like Io Sky in the mid card. It's main event or it's a feud that is going to elevate another person that's a genuine prospect. And if it is going to be mid card, it better be for a long goddamn reign where she's putting on bangers. Because like that would be the Intercontinental title reign I would want her to have. would be a workhorse reign. I'm working with you. I'm working with you. I'm getting you over, you over, you over. Let's do it for 300 plus days. Like she's just that good. It's undeniable. So I'm happy for Lyra that she got this win. And I still think her and Io, this could be one of the best feuds of Lyra's, really just her career overall, but certainly her WWE career, if they keep running this back while also having it spaced out. Because I'm not sick of these two yet, but not by a long shot. I think their best is yet to come with each other. And that's not even acknowledging that Roxanne, I feel like, will be coming up soon. And Lyra could revisit that with her as well. Lyra's about to eat really well if WWE wants her to. And that's always the big question. So after that, we get a lot of promotion for Raw going to Netflix, looking at Raw moments on USA, which I do think is sweet. This is definitely more amicable than when Raw left Spike TV fucking years ago.
Dude,
Um,
someone posted, I think it might have been Sean or Cliff. I really don't remember who it was that posted a clip of the last episode of Raw on Spike, where every time they would say USA, it got muted. Not even censored, not even bleeped, just straight up muted, and for way too long too. Jesus Christ.
yes.
I don't think I was watching during that time. Was that in like 2007 or 8 or 9?
I want to say 7.
Okay, yeah. I don't think I was watching at that time because I do not remember that shit at all.
Yes.
That's so petty.
Uh, we get a 6-man tag.
Yeah.
Damian Priest and War Raiders versus Judgment Day. Not really much to say here. Babyfaces win. Finn goes on the attack on Priest again. So I guess what, did they not listen to Finn? Is that what happened,
Do
Finn? Did
they
they
ever
not listen
listen
to you
to
enough?
Finn? I mean,
What was that?
I said, do they ever listen to Finn? I mean,
I mean, they really listened to Liv, the true leader of Judgment Day, but I digress. Um,
Judgment Day's a feminist faction, let's be real.
that is true. And you know what?
Rio was the true leader for the longest time, and now it's pretty much Liv.
You know what? I respect them for that. Good for you, Judgment Day. Good
Kind
for
of
you.
funny, too, because they were founded by Edgington.
Yeah, the cope.
Edge and Cope. Edge, then
Uh,
Cope.
yeah, we let's hear from Ludwig Kaiser. Here's a better idea. Let's not. So he apparently had an in-ring promo. I think he still wants the Intercontinental title. That was the gist of it. Sheamus comes back though and kicks him in the face, and he said, more or less says, "Not before me, fella." And so there you go.
Sheamus with the promo of the year so far.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, and yeah, we get a follow up here. Rey Mysterio and LWO, they spoke to Otis and Alpha Academy. Rey told Otis that he knows, Otis is gonna get Gable the next time. The New Day come in and they're confronted by Rey, and Rey again told them, "Get your BS out of here." And Rey said, "Part of being a leader is stepping up and shutting up any egos that need to be checked." Oscar, you need to simmer down. The last time you were in the ring with Xavier Woods, you lost and you suffered unveiled face. Um,
He only
so
lost because Xavier went low and decided to unveil his face.
I mean, sure. Ray suggested the two of them in the LWO could kick New Day's ass. New Day mocked Ray's friends by calling them the other mask guy, hat guy, no hat guy, and mocked Zelina Vega for wearing high boots. You know what? If they weren't so awful to E, I would kind of be eating off this, honestly. Like, I do love the pettiness, and I just can't deny that about myself. It is who I am. It's what I enjoy. And so yeah, I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for them. I feel like, I don't know where Ray got all that ego from, but that's about to be checked for sure. Io Lyra, we already talked about this. This was a really fun match. I like the pin that Lyra got to win. And Io, to her credit, I mean, for one thing, she was fantastic during the match, of course. But like both her and Lyra were shocked by the result, and I love that for both of them because Lyra even looked at the ref and she's like, "That's 3." That shows you what a big deal beating Io is. So I really credit Lyra for that. And it just protects Io because Io got caught, and Io's even like, "Wait, was I beat?" It's like, "Yeah, you were." So I love how they both sold that moment. And then speaking of selling something, or dare I say, promoting something, we conclude this Raw with the Seth Rollins CM Punk face-to-face confrontation. I was tempted to make this a final candidate for promo of the year for me. I did not add it even in my honorable mentions, although it was really, really good. but I feel like I've talked a lot. Uh, brother, what did you think about this promo exchange?
Which one?
The main event one, Punk Rollins.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, this was really genuinely great shit. I just remember watching this and thinking to myself, man, this is legitimately compelling television because both of these guys are kind of dicks and both of them are kind of right at the same time. And that just makes it, I love that we're working with gray areas. It's really good stuff. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, they both have some valid feelings, but they're both also just complete dickheads about it too.
Yes, yes. But I love the WWE writing has gone in this direction.
Yes,
Neither
for
one of
some feuds, I don't want everything to be gray
yeah,
area. I think like 10% at most, maybe 20 at the very most percent
yeah.
of WWE feuds having very like gray characters and like moral quandaries like this, I can get behind. But I still think the majority of it should absolutely be like hard coded, black and white, like good guy, bad guy. You know who you're rooting for, no matter what kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I feel like you can't do gray area with somebody like Kairi Sane, for instance. She's too
Right.
adorable. And
I
so
mean,
it's
she's
like,
been
how
a
can
heel
you?
before, bro.
She has, but like, we loved her along the way. Uh, so yeah, it's like, I think with people who have a history and who live that history in the ring, you can get away with stuff like this. I do agree with you. Hard lines can make for very compelling stories, especially if the people on those sides of the line are good at what they do. Again, Kairi is like a fun heel, you're right, but I always know her as a babyface. I feel like that's really where she shines. Um, and then you look at a heel like Roman Reigns' heel work to me is going to be untouchable, maybe for the rest of my life. He did some transcendent stuff, and so yeah, and Sami Zayn, just so we can actually talk about a feud. Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns. One guy's the heel, the one guy's the babyface. It's just good shit. It's just that simple. So yeah, I agree with you about this promo. I think you said it very succinctly and economically. So let's move on to NXT. I actually went back and rewatched this. I had this on my computer in like a screen and screen thing during year end awards, but then I'm like, no, I want to be able to talk about this. So I rewatched it. Granted, I rewatched it at 2 times speed to save time. Um, Kalani Jordan and Lola Vice opened the show with a matchup. And I was actually surprised that Kalani won.
You
I
were
thought Lola Vice was
surprised
gonna
that
win.
Kalani beat Lola?
Yeah. Yeah, I am because I feel like NXT is high on Lola and she did win NXT Underground most recently, whereas Kalani has been on a bit of a losing streak.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
So I thought Lola
So
was
it's
on
like
the
a
come up
momentum
and
thing.
Kalani
Yeah.
was really cooling down. So I
Gotcha.
am surprised, but they did protect um Lola Vice because I believe Cora came in and tried to cost Kalani and it backfired. And then Cora, tried to get the jump on Kalani anyway, kind of took her out. And then Lola, confronting Cora, like, what the hell? You just cost me that match. And then that became a whole thing. And then Stephanie Vaquer, who I'm surprised also her fixture in this because she beat Cora Jade already in a singles match. I thought that was settled. So she comes in to confront Cora further and Cora sandwiched between Lola and Stephanie, and Lola goes for her back fist, and Cora ducks, and Stephanie eats it. I gotta tell you, man, my favorite comment watching this on YouTube, because I did watch the whole show again, but I did also like peep YouTube content or comments just to see. One person said straight up that they feel like Lola Vice should like be an actress on those telenovelas because
Yeah.
they feel like she's so melodramatic in her acting because she just seems so distraught that she accidentally backfist Stephanie. But yeah, this ends up dovetailing into a backstage segment where Lola and Stephanie are arguing. Kalani more or less said, well, I think you both deserved it. And so maybe Kalani is starting to turn heel a little bit, which gets me excited. And they're kind of like shining each other, whatever. Cora's watching the drama unfold. And then Ava lets her know that those four next week, on New Year's Evil, are going to be in a four-way to determine who's going to challenge Fallon Henley for the Women's North American Championship. Who do you got? So again, just make clear the four. It's going to be Lola, Cora, Stephanie, and Kalani. Who do you have winning that, man?
Oh man, I'm scared that they're gonna give it to Cora. I really don't know. Who all was it? Cora Kalani and who else?
Kalani, Stephanie, who would seem like the easy favorite
Yeah.
for a lot of people, and Cora, Kalani, Lola, Stephanie.
Lola is in it. Why is Lola even in it? She literally just lost to Kalani.
But again, still more recently, she did win another NXT Underground match, so that might still be enough goodwill for her. Plus,
Mm.
it was kind of a weird win for Kalani given the Cora interference.
Why did Cora interfere, by the way?
Because she still has beef with Lani. Because she feels like Kalani cost her Women's Iron Survivor in the four-way, or like she messed her up.
Did I miss NXT this week or something? I feel like I don't remember this match.
I know you had it pulled up in the background when we were doing year-end awards. And again, I went back and
That's
rewatched it.
why I didn't watch it, or I barely watched NXT because we were doing year-end awards during it. Fuck.
That's why I went back and I actually rewatched the show. This way it could be really like encoded in my mind.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Wow, man, you really went all in. All right. So, okay. And this is for number one contendership for Fallon's title?
Yes, that's correct. I'm actually going to go with Lola winning this. I think Stephanie's too obvious.
You know what? You might be right. I think my most likely pick is Stephanie, but my backup pick is going to be actually Kalani. I think they're going to have her kind of piggyback off of the momentum of the win over Lola and win again to get a rematch against Fallon since she hasn't had one yet. And this way, it feels like she really earned it. And it's not just like, oh, we're handing out rematches again. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying completely. I'm only skeptical of Lani because she's already gotten her rematch.
Wait, what? She had one?
Yeah, she did get her rematch on an episode of NXT, I believe.
I need to look
a-
this up.
And Fallon retained.
I need to look this up because I don't remember her having
That's
a
fine. Yeah,
rematch.
no, we verify everything. I'm pretty confident that I'm right that Lani did get her rematch.
NXT North American Women's Championship. Okay, she did. I take that back then. She's definitely not winning it. So then, yeah, I'm just going to say Stephanie wins.
Okay. I'm sticking with my pick of Lola. Good discussion there. They are doing NXT awards. Oba, Josh Briggs, and Dijak win match of the year, as
Yeah,
it
I
should.
agree.
Yes. Yes. Um, they do a video package for Julia talking about her match against Roxanne. Cool. I liked it. It's weird. I think I'm just waiting for Julia to win the title and see how her reign is because she does feel special, but I don't know. I'm feeling a bit of a disconnect with Julia right now on NXT, but maybe that's because I'm just waiting for her to be the champion and take over. And
I
it
was going
feels
to say,
weird.
Julia right now feels kind of similar to how Utami has felt in Money Gold since, prior to winning the title today.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm glad that I'm not alone in that. It's not that she's bad by me. I'm not saying that. It's just I
Although,
think I'm used to Julia being the main character.
I was going to say, you know what, though? Julia's last match with Roxanne felt incredible. Like, Julia was incredible in that match. I felt like she actually stepped her game up in that match compared to even like her previous matches that we've seen from her in Stardom and Money Gold, which is crazy because she's always been pretty damn good.
Yeah.
So I'm very much expecting her match with Roxanne this coming Tuesday to be nuts, and for her win to feel very fucking earned, and for her to feel very much like a worthwhile world champion.
I mean, bro, here's the thing that's crazy for me, just to speak personally for a second. I still don't have a match of the year contender right now in my list. And
Dude, I love that for you though, because I think that we are both going to be a little bit more vigilant this year about trying to keep up with our lists, at least for as long as we can muster the willpower and motivation to do that. I think it's good for us to have a high bar because if we have too low of a bar, we're going to end up with like 30 plus items on our lists.
yeah, and look, I only say that because my fucking girl won the world title today. Like,
Yeah.
and I didn't put that on there. It was a great match, but I honestly think they could still do better because I saw it in their 26th interaction in that tag match.
Yeah.
Um, I say that to say, and not to toot my own horn, but I feel like I've been a pretty big Roxanne advocate on here.
Yeah. Oh
I
my
feel like
God.
her
Yeah.
and Julia are going to
Absolutely.
do it. Yeah, I feel like her and Julia are going to do it.
I
They're going to
agree.
be my. Say that again.
I agree.
Yeah, I think they're going to be my first match of the year contender. I think these two are going to fucking cook. Um, and so yeah, like I'm just so excited for these two because again, I am till the day I die, and for as long as I have any love, even if just a spark for pro wrestling, it's just gonna come from that pure scientific hold for hold, make me sweat, put me through the fucking paces, technical fucking wrestling.
Yeah.
And these two are gonna do it. This is gonna cook. I hope this main event's the show, honestly, because I'll tell you, Thorpe has completely ruined, well, not completely ruined my interest because Oba will always get my interest, but it should have been Oba versus Trick one on one. Thorpius ruined it, and that's on him. So because of that, you don't get to main event, you little shit. I think Roxanne Julia should 1000% main event, and I actually feel like NXT agrees. I feel like they want Julia winning the title to be a huge fucking deal. So let me ask you: do you think they're going to main event, or do you think NXT Championship main events?
Um. Yeah. God. Give it honestly,
Roxanne's had
dude.
a
Let me
long
put it
reign
this way.
too, dude. Like,
Let me say
yeah,
this. If it was just Oba Trick, I would say they should main event. But with Thorpe being in the mix, I hate it. I would hate it if they would main event over Roxanne Julia.
yeah, I agree. What I'm asking you is, do you think NXT is going to make Roxanne Julia the main event? Because I feel like they might.
I hope so. I hope you're right. Um, I I don't know though because like if the plan is for Oba to win the title and that they put Thorpe in the match to take the pin to protect Trick, which is what I expect,
Yeah.
they might want to close out the show with the fucking Emperor standing tall. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and see, dude, like I'm not trying to be a heretic. I just don't see that happening for our God right now. Um, I hope I'm not excommunicated from our Oba commune, but I
I'm
really do
assuming that
feel
you expect Trick to pin Eddie and then Oba to get a singles match afterwards and win it then.
well, that's my grounded John, let's not be ridiculous concern, but then when I give into the thoughts, I'm thinking could Thorpe actually win? And that really
Oh
bothers me and
no,
skeeves me
no.
out.
You know what? The shitty thing is, I've had similar thoughts, and they have Thorpe have like a short title reign, and when I say short, my fucking reptile brain is screaming a week and then he loses it to Oba the week after. But my primate brain that is trying its damnedest to reason things through is thinking like until stand and deliver, which fucking sucks and I hate everything about it. And
Yeah.
then he drops it to Oba. I hate everything about that. I like that's fucking disgusting to me. Having Eddie Thorpe win the title at all is disgusting to me. Having him hold it for more than a millimeter, a millisecond, I mean, is like every millisecond that he holds it longer is that much more disgusting. 3 months is insufferable. But yeah, I could. I mean, they've done it with Ethan Page. Who's to say they wouldn't?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I think also, even if Trick does just retain and they do Oba Trick at Stand and Deliver, in one way I can respect it because that's NXT in their own way, saying these two are so good, they deserve to main event our biggest show, and genuine respect to them for that. I did really want Javon versus Oba though. I,
Yep.
I I can't lie. Like I am.
And especially because they even kind of planted the seeds of that with Javon literally being mid pin on Oba after hitting him with his finisher as time ran out on Iron Survivor.
Yeah. But no, let's give Javon Ethan Page because that's fun. That's
Mm.
great. Um. Oh God. You know what? I'm just gonna skip all this because we did Cedric versus Ethan. Also, Joe Hendry got Moment of the Year award. Good for him. He's got a lot of momentum. I'm afraid he's still not gonna win the title at fucking Genesis though, because no math, not even once. We got our triple threat tag match: Shotzi and Gigi Dolan with Tatum at ringside versus the Meta Girls, Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson versus Kaden and Katana. Lash and Jakara win it. Dude, they are really coming together as a tag team.
Yep.
I'll tell you, when we were talking about 2025 predictions, it's still early enough in the year that not too much has popped off yet that I feel like we could still talk about stuff. And hey, in my mind, until the year's over, you can always talk about what you want in a given year. I want these two to get a women's tag title run. They are really putting it together. And I think that would be great for Lash as she still gets that final little bit of polish before she blows the fuck up. And honestly, I think Jakara's really stepped up in the ring too. I think that'd be a great thing for her because it's not putting too much on her because she's sharing the load with Lash, but it also gets her over And I think they're good enough to get the titles over, which competitors should do that are champions. So yeah, I really like them. I hope it happens for them this year. This is a fun match. They got the dub. And then Alba and Isla challenge them because apparently they've beaten Lash and Jakara before. And so we're gonna run that back. And I'm just gonna say it again. I hope Lash and Jakara win that
Yeah.
so that they look like actual contenders.
Yeah.
You know, like I really, really want that for them. All right. Already talked about that backstage segment. Lexis King returns the Heritage Cup to its rightful fucking owner, and I have never been more relieved. Um, yeah, Ava pretty much says, the rules are kind of ambiguous, things are kind of weird, so we're just gonna say that it goes back to Charlie Dempsey, but at New Year's Evil, it's gonna be sudden death, Lexis King versus Charlie Dempsey. And Charlie just walks off with it like a boss. He doesn't even have any misgivings. He even says, "Fine by me. I've already proven that I can beat Lexis, but you haven't proven it, have you?" And he walks off. And I'm like, Charlie, you're so right. And I don't know why your dad was trying to help Lexus because he should be so proud that you are his son. Because I would be. That's why I'm so proud of Abel. And that's why Abel won't defect because I'm not like William trying to alienate my son, helping his fucking ops. I mean, come on, William. I love you. You're better than this. And then Lexus bemoans, but I did everything right. Welcome to life, pal. Fuck. Uh,
He
let's
also
see.
didn't do everything right. I mean, look at that beard.
I mean, true. And also, look at that vacuum where the charisma was supposed to be.
Oh fuck. Listen, man. I was going out of my way to take a shot at him for something that he has control over. God damn.
Wait, so you can't work hard and develop a personality and have some imagination and work through ideas? I don't think I was being unfair.
You know what? Touche.
Thank you. We get Izzy Dame versus Sol Ruka. This is bittersweet because I know you like Izzy Dame and I do too, but I feel like Sol is kind of above what she's doing right now. She really, I can't speak for you. For me, Iron Survivor should have been the moment that we were talking about Sol either getting called up or talking about that women's North American championship. I don't know why she's having these random freaking matches
I am
still.
yeah, dude,
So you agree with me?
I'm very confused by this booking
Yeah.
because as you mentioned, I love both of these women. I think they're both great prospects. I think Izzy Dame, I compare her to a young Rhea Ripley all the fucking time. Volleyball background, great size, great look, athletic, has charisma, which, I mean, as you so eloquently pointed out, is something that Lexis King is severely lacking.
Yes.
Sol Ruka, you can check off a lot of those boxes for her too. And even then some. She's freak. She's not just athletic. She's freakishly athletic. She's like exceptional athlete, insanely athletic.
Yeah.
And I feel like Sol Ruka is kind of like in that like upper mid Carter, like bubbling over, like almost to the main event level. And then shit like this happens. Where like I was also under the impression that Izzy Dane was like lower mid card, like losing to regular mid carders, like can't get a win streak to save her life type. And then this shit, I don't like. Izzy Dame is a mystery to me, man. She's an enigma. I don't know what the WWE sees in her. In a very literal sense, that's not me saying I don't know what they see in her. I don't know why they like her. That's me saying I don't know how they perceive her. I don't know if they see her as a potential future star or if they see her as just like there and somebody that they can just kind of shove into any spot that they need someone to fill. Like I really don't know what they think of her because she like let me pull up her cage match real quick cuz this is
Sure.
weird as fuck to me. So, since I'm going to say October, right?
Yeah.
She has been on Level Up. She beat Tyra May Steele and Carly Bright on Level Up in October and then in November, right? And then the first match that she wrestled in January, She lost in under 4 minutes to Gigi Dolan. You know I like Gigi Dolan too,
Yes.
but then she comes back and beats Sol Ruka, and I feel like Sol Ruka's higher up in the card than Gigi Dolan.
Well, she was in the women's. That's what I can't get the booking either. Soul was in women's Iron Survivor, and didn't she even get 2 points?
Yeah.
Like,
And then like if you go a little bit further back even, like the month of August alone is again, it's an enigma. Literally just looking at August all by itself, completely isolated. August 6th, she lost to Adriana Rizzo on NXT Level Up.
yeah,
August 13th, she beat Brinley Reese on NXT TV. August
yeah,
20th, she lost to Carmen Petrovich. August
yeah.
26th, she lost to Lyra Valkyria on an episode of Main Event.
Okay.
Like, she got one win in all of August, and it was over Brinley Reese, who is like a lower card girl. And now all of a sudden she comes back and gets a random ass win over Sol Ruka? Huh?
Well, and here's the thing. Random, yes, in my mind, because like, why Soul when you again just put her in the main event of Deadline, and she thrived in it. So like, I've definitely become a bigger Soul Ruka fan post Deadline, which is why the booking is very dispiriting to me. And then on the Izzy Dame side, I'm happy that Izzy Dame is getting a push, but like, we're always honest on this podcast, even if it hurts. I don't like that this push involves Ty Spears because Ty Spears is still
Yeah.
scouting her, right?
Yeah.
And it's, you know, and it's like, God,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah,
Um,
actually, I can go back. Like, Izzy Dame has been treated like a pretty much like a jobber most of this year. Like, here's the list of women that she has actually beaten on television. And I emphasize on television because she has some wins on like Level Up, but like Level Up is generally like lower card stuff and like debuting people before they are like okayed to be on TV yet kind of stuff, right? So
yeah,
like Level Up, she has wins over Carly Bright, Tyra May Steele. She got a win earlier this year over Carmen Petrovich on Level Up. She even beat Gigi Dolan on Level Up back in February. I don't know why she's got this weird thing going on with Gigi Dolan. But regardless, excluding Level Up and excluding NXT Live, I'm going to look at literally just Izzy Dame 2024, right?
yeah,
So in and we'll look at strictly post Kiana James getting drafted too, right?
yes,
She lost to Sol Ruka in the NXT Women's North American Championship qualifying rounds in May.
yes,
She lost to Natalia in June. She beat Brinley Reese in July. Then she lost to Thea Hale and Tatum Paxley in July. Beat Brinley Reese again in August. This was all during the Malik Blade and Idris Inofe thing that was going on, where Brinley Reese was like their like motivational coach and shit, and Izzy was like, "Yeah, that doesn't work. You should hang with me instead." Izzy beat Brinley both times that they wrestled, right?
yeah,
And then she lost to Carmen Petrovich. Didn't wrestle again on NXT TV after that until December, and then she lost she lost to Gigi Dolan in December. And the next time that she wrestled was this loss to Sol Ruka this week.
yeah,
Or I mean, this win. I'm so used to saying she lost.
yeah,
This win over Sol Ruka this week was her one and only televised win over someone not named Brinley Reese.
yeah. It's pretty wild that they've decided to push her now. I don't think it'll be a loss for NXT. I think pushing Izzy Dame will only be good for them.
Is it a
I'm
push though? Like that's what I'm confused about because like she's literally only ever won 2 matches on NXT TV, and they've both been against Brinley Reese until now.
Well, I think in context, okay, so let me phrase this as judiciously and as grounded as I can. I think in context, this could be a prospective push because we know that Ty Spears was watching this win and he's still pursuing Izzy. They even had a follow-up segment and Izzy said, like I told you, I don't need any help. So he's like trying to wear her down, but he seems really like zoned in on her. So I feel like she's going to start running with them. Now, if that means more wins, I don't know. It's Ty Spears. Let's not get too excited, right? But this is the most they've ever done with Izzy, so we'll see. I just don't know why Sol Ruka of all people is being treated like this. And also as a side note, and this is just like a minor nitpick for me, I don't really even know if I like the presentation of Zarya right now as like, oh, I'm chummy with Sol. Like I always kind of envision her just given like her look and everything as more of like a loner type. And here she's just like casually vibing with Sol in the locker room. I don't know. Something's just a bit off about that to me. But yeah, Sol loses. I wonder if it is going to lead to her versus Zarya, like in a singles match down the road, because I feel like they're trying to make this tag team thing work, but they're keeping like miscues or whatever. So I just think that that's going to implode. But yeah, I'm honestly excited for Sol to get to the main roster at this point because if this is how NXT sees her after a great performance at Deadline, I think she could do a lot more. And I really just grew to be a bigger fan of hers after Deadline. So after that, we get into a whole thing that ultimately leads to Tyson and Tyreek running with Wes Lee, which I don't know how I feel about that because you guys, it's well documented at this point how I feel Wesley's heel turn has gone. I enjoyed the initial turn, but I've been very disappointed by the results. And I really like Tyson and Tyreek, and I honestly wanted them to be baby faces because I love their initial video packages, and I love these were guys that, like, again, when you talk about representation and why that matters, these guys were amazing representation in my opinion. Of course, I'm on the outside of that. I shouldn't really speak to that too authoritatively. I just thought like this is cool, and I don't really care for them as heels right now. But then again, it just started, so I got to give it time. They went against Hank and Tank, but who did they find for a partner? Andre Chase. Andre Chase, and I gotta say, man,
I saw Andre Chase coming out like bum ass Baron Corbin.
yes, fucking shirt all ruffled, hair not properly combed, seemingly. Uh, he is just dejected. He is utterly just dispirited. He's checked out, and but here's the thing: he does wrestle a part of the match until it gets to the chase you stomp. Because he goes to say, "Give me a seat," and then he looks out and he sees no chase you section, which I thought was a great character beat and a great match beat. He immediately sinks, like the flip switches, and he's like, "Well, I'm done for the night." He tags out, I think, to Tank. Tank is like, "Bro, what the hell?" And
Yeah.
he leaves. And yeah, the heel team pick up the win, which again, I don't know how I feel about this. All I know immediately is that I'm happy that Tyson and Tyreek are getting fucking dubs. Um,
Yeah, it's about goddamn time too.
exactly. Um, so yeah, they get the win. We'll see what the future is for this new stable, whatever. We get backstage. Ashanti is calling Carmen, and he said, "If I can't spend New Year's with you, I'm just gonna spend it by myself." Then Nikita is like, I'm going to a New Year's party. You rolling up or not?" And I said, I guess not. If I can't spend it with Carmen, I'm spending it alone. And then he was like, whatever, thought you were a player, and then just kind of walks off. And Ashanti's like,
God, she's insufferable.
guess I'm not. So yeah, Shanti growing a little bit. He's like, man, Carmen really tugged at my heartstrings. I agree, Ashanti. I knew it from the first argument that you two were really meant for each other. So that's going great for you. Um, let's see. We had a couple more awards at this. I've been kind of glossing over the awards now because it is what it is. Roxanne won Female of the Year, Fraxian won Tag Team of the Year, um, all that stuff. And I say that because we're gearing up for Male Wrestler of the Year. But before that, I do just want to say to tie in with the Andre Chase thing. We know that Tony D. Well, again, Sean Spears tried again to get Izzy Dame to join. She told him, leave me alone. Good on Izzy for maintaining boundaries, and good on Tony. Tony comes in and he says, "How many times does the woman have to tell you no?" And then Izzy's even like, "Wow, a man who listens. Like, what a surprise!" And she walks off. So Tony D'Angelo, y'all, teaching us what being an ally, in the streets actually looks like. Good on you, Tony.
A real man.
Um, and Spears kind of makes a crack about maybe he's not done with that North American title. Yeah, you are. You lost. But who isn't done with it? Rich Holland, aka Bad Santa, not the movie. That's a classic. Um, And Tony says, he wants to settle that business. And, they're like, of course. Then we get our Andre Chase little segment. Kale Dixon asks him when the next semester is starting. And then Andre's like, Chase U is dead. And he just walks off. I'm thinking that Kale Dixon in that initial segment a few weeks back when he was like, Mr. Chase, and he kind of turns around, I'm thinking that voice might have been Kale Dixon because it sounded very similar this week. I'm like, oh,
That makes
this guy.
sense. Yeah.
Question though.
Popped me.
Wait, what did you say?
Chase U is dead. That just popped me.
Yeah.
Just the delivery that you had, even. I didn't even actually hear what he said because I had my TV muted during NXT. So I didn't actually get to hear the delivery when he said it, but your delivery was so good.
Oh, I appreciate because that was really just me being offhanded, like just recap voice.
That
Um,
was so good. Holy shit.
but wasn't Kale Dixon the guy that Braun Breaker murdered in his Raw debut?
I think so, yeah.
So a guy that can't even save himself is going to save Chase U. I appreciate the continuity. So with that,
goats.
beg pardon.
I said totes my goats.
Absolutely. After that, we get big thing, male superstar of the year. God, I feel conflicted about this because looking at it objectively and putting my own marky feelings aside in the corner, looking all cute, I'm like, man, Oba did so great here again, as God does. Um, but it's like, man, he is still a heel, and I hate it because clearly we all want to love him, and Oba
He
knows
should have
it.
been a candidate for worst heel of the year because he's too fucking good and he shouldn't be a goddamn heel anymore.
I'm surprised that you didn't do that because that'd be classic you. Here's my worst heel of the year. A guy that's actually brilliant, which is why he's the worst, because let me love you, god damn it.
Yeah, it's like I don't think I've ever had a heel of the year before that was less of an indictment on the performer and more of an indictment on the decision to keep them heel in the first place.
Femi makes me want to be a better person. If that's not a baby face, I don't know
What's
what
really
is.
sad about that is that like he's a proven sexist towards women.
Cool. But it's
Just the character, not the actual guy.
yeah, like I mean, his like fans, he calls them like Oba feminist. So like like he's there with us. He's there with us. Um,
Like, well, but I just remember what he said to Rizzo during the feud with fucking the family and with Tony D.
I mean, look, sexism is never excused. And I really want to say but after that, but I know that's horrible. So I will say though, the only reason I still fucks with him even after that, I mean that accent though. Like I'm just, I mean, god damn. When is there Foster's like, is he there with us? Yes, Foster. God, he's there with us always, of course. I feel Obafemi with me right now as I'm filled with indignant rage that Eddie Thorpius is in this fucking match that he has no business being in. But anyway, so this was good stuff from Oba. And because he tells the truth, he's like, this doesn't even matter. He more or less, I love that he had the energy of your debut YouTube video because he more or less was like, you're all marks. But like, he doesn't say it like that though, but he does though, because it's like, this doesn't matter. Your opinion doesn't matter. I matter. And I'm just sitting here and I'm like, he's so right. Nothing I've ever said on here has ever mattered. Like, what? How does it compared to this? Like, yes, God, thank you for telling me the truth. I feel so liberated. Shit. He says he controls everything, and like it doesn't matter who they vote for because the fact of the matter is, nobody's more dominant in NXT than me. This is my era. This is my NXT, and I'm gonna become the NXT champion. Um, and I will give Trick credit. We're not going to talk anymore about Thorpius. He exists. He thought he did a good thing, getting one up on both these guys to end the show. So talking about the people that actually matter in the main event that should be happening, I really like Trick here because Trick comes out and he straight up says, I got my championship. Where's yours? Because last I checked, you were the one pursuing me. I didn't call you out. You called me out. So I like that Trick flipped that script. For as much as Oba wants to say, oh, you only get to do all this because I allow it. Did you allow yourself to lose your championship? Did you allow yourself to only pick now when you come for me? See, because Trick even said what we were all kind of thinking, what the burner account even was thinking. I thought when you and I faced off, it'd be champion versus champion. I love that he says that too. This was really good work by Trick. In fact, I'd go as far as say this is one of his best promos in his NXT tenure because he didn't slip up. I feel like everything was delivered concisely and it hit. Like there is truth to it. I hope this is a sign that Trick is really cementing his promo game because if he is, I mean, the printer's ready with your money, sir. I mean, fuck me. Um, so what did you think about these two, as the actual proper main event of New Year's Evil?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it would be nice if it was just these two, but unfortunately, Thorpius is involved. So
Yeah, but he's not involved right now, so I can close my eyes and pretend like he's not there. That's the thing. Like, you can join me there. But I understand you live in facts, and I respect that, and you acknowledge that Thorpe is there. Hopefully, he just doesn't win the title. So yes. I thought it was just a great mic segment between these two guys, and then Thorpe does his stuff to close the show. Um, Whatever. I'm thinking ultimately Trick retains. Worst case, Thorpe wins. Notice though that in all those possibilities, I didn't say the one that should be on NXT's mind, and that's that Oba wins the championship. So I don't know, Hickenbottom, get some LASIK, see a new optometrist, do something right to get that vision right, because how this is even happening. Um, Somebody needs to make hickory out of your bottom or something. I don't know. See, my insult game is off because
wow,
I am so flummoxed that you would do this to our God. And
you
I
popped my mom.
I mean, that's the only thing that really matters, honestly. So I'll take the dub. The same way that I hope Oba does by pinning them both. Um So yeah, that was NXT, and that's pretty much our week in the world of wrestling. Unless, is there any? And I'm asking this sincerely. Again, I'm trying to lead with a better foot forward. Is there any AEW you want to talk about? Because I have not yet gone back and watched the show. I'm still toying with the idea of at least watching. I'm not watching all their content. I am telling you all right now that is not happening. I am toying with the idea of trying to keep up with Dynamite, but even knowing the Jeff Jarrett angle that they're seemingly doing, I'm like, wow, way to make the decision for me before I even reached a consensus with myself. But do you have any AEW you want to talk about?
I'm trying to remember when World's End happened. Did we discuss that already? I think we did, right? Yeah, yeah,
We
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 did
did. Yeah.
while we were live last week, even. Yeah, okay.
Yes, yes, yes.
So I don't think I watched anything from them this week. Um, oh, I mean, we can discuss something that I didn't watch, but we can still shit on it.
Sure. What's up?
Julia Hart beat Jamie Hayter this week.
I vehemently disagree with it. That's all I'm going to say about that. I know Jamie apparently was enthused about working with Julia, and if Jamie's enthused about it, far be it for me to tell her how she should do her career. I will say in more of a positive space, like I feel like Jamie is at worst one of the biggest what ifs in recent memory because she's so goddamn good, and at best because there are still times she could still be absolutely goaded and have a goaded career. This woman is insanely talented, and the idea that she's already this selfless that she's like, oh yeah, I'd love to work with Julia Hart. I love you, I think, actually, because I'd be far more selfish in her spot. So that's how I'm gonna, put that. I don't even hate Julia Hart. I just think in the ring, it's night and day. And I don't know why we're not building Jamie back up to the championship. Why, like, I don't get why Tony Storm is the priority when I feel like Mariah May and Jamie Hayter could absolutely cook and feed every family in Florida, for AEW. And you're just not letting them do that. And I'm bewildered as to why. So I think it was a very gentle way for me to handle that. Do you have anything else you want to say about that?
No.
Okay. Then let's open up the forum then for
Whoa, whoa,
questions.
whoa! You didn't ask about extracurricular.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, is there any?
Yes,
Okay, well, I do it honestly. I would hope you would cut in with that if there was, because if there wasn't, I'd be
I
even more
did cut
confused.
in. That's why I did that.
Yeah. So what did you watch,
Worldwide, not all of, but parts of Wrestle Kingdom.
and what did you think?
It was awful.
Wonderful.
No,
All right.
not at
Anything
all.
else you want to
I've
say?
also just I've
Yeah.
also just kind of been keeping tabs on Wrestle Dynasty, and that's been going on since 11, which is like
Yeah.
right around the time that we went live. Also, even before 11, the pre-show happened, and guess what match was on the pre-show?
What match?
The International Women's Cup 4-way match.
Oh, who won?
Momo Watanabe.
Wow, look at that. Good for Momo.
Now, guess who she pinned?
Who?
You don't want to guess?
No.
Athena.
Ooh. Okay. Okay. I'm listening. I'm
I hate that
listening.
Athena got pinned instead of, say, I don't know, Willow Nightingale or the random CMLL chick that was in there.
But if it dovetails into a singles match between Momo and Athena, we win and we
Exactly.
eat.
Exactly. That's the only like silver lining to come out of that. Um, we got a apparently, and this is something that I actually did miss. We got a 5 minute exhibition grappling rules match between Tanahashi and Shibata. So I'm sure that was fun for the people who saw that. But the other match that I did pay pretty close attention to and really enjoyed and was actually pretty close to giving a match of the year nod to before the finish, which I hated. Mercedes versus Mina.
Ah, yes, yes. I figured that that would be quite good.
Yeah, it was. Dude, Mercedes is in her bag again, man. She's basically had 4 straight fantastic pay-per-view matches. Full Gear against Statlander, World's End against Statlander, that Hazuki match at that New Japan Strong pay-per-view, and now this one. Mercedes is back, just fully at her full power as far as I'm concerned. I don't know about promos because I don't watch AEW television, so I don't really listen to her promos, and I doubt that I would like them even if I did. But match-wise, in-ring-wise, she is just fully back all the way. I know people were worried about her being washed because of the Britt Baker match. Safe to assume, as you and I did at the time, that was a Britt Baker problem. Um, and Mina, as always, fantastic. But also now beltless. So Mina now has, an empty spot where a belt used to be that she can potentially be seeking out something to replace it.
Back to stardom and win the world title that was always supposed to be
I
yours.
mean, the world title, I'm not going to get my hopes up, but I would love it if she would like go after the high speed title or something cool like that.
I mean,
Maybe the
I'm
white
I'm
belt.
world title or
Again,
nothing with me and Shirakawa. So
I
like
mean, I,
let's go.
I mean, look, I appreciate your hope and your optimism. I just don't believe it to be realistic personally.
And I appreciate your blunt honesty about my feelings. Um with that said, is there anything else you want to talk about?
Um, well, I don't want to spoil the Wrestle Kingdom main event for you, but I
Um, I
did
I
peep
did
that.
already kind of see it in the Discord, honestly. I'm still gonna go back and watch it just to make my own judgment. But if you want to talk about it, you can. I don't really mind.
Oh, well, okay. I mean,
Because I
you're
also did see your Blue Sky post about it.
oh,
So yeah, you can go
well,
a bit deeper into that too if you wanted.
okay. So I think Zack Sabre Jr. is actually a really fucking good IWGP World Champion, and I think that he is one that should maybe even potentially get a year plus long reign. I think Alex Foster suggested that that would happen, and I think that that would be a really good idea personally.
Yeah,
But this Wrestle Kingdom was fucking embarrassing, in my opinion.
yeah,
The main event especially was embarrassing because it felt like it should have happened in like a fucking April or like a March, not on the January 4th Tokyo Dome show.
yeah,
It it felt to me, and I think this is the exact wording that I even used in my Blue Sky post. It felt like a filler match in an otherwise fantastic world title
yeah. Like I'll just say, not working with much context relative to you and others in our Discord, it confused me from the jump because I feel like we've known about this for a while that it was Umino getting the rub and not say Suji and of course the big elephant in the room, Sonata, when those two
reign.
have
Yeah.
so much
Well,
history with each other.
and I say Sonata, I even explicitly said that the main event of Wrestle Kingdom 19 should have been Zack Sonata. And I said that because there was a show in November. Um, Let me see if I can find the name of it. It wasn't. Oh God, what was the name of it? Fuck. Power Struggle. Power Struggle was in November, and one of the matches in that show was Shota Umino beating Sonata for the right to challenge Zack for the title.
Yeah,
Sonata just should have fucking won that match. Sonata just
absolutely.
straight up should have won that match. And here's the thing too. What came of Sonata losing that match is Sonata joined Bullet Club. You could have literally just switched them and it would have been fine, if not even more compelling. Well, I shouldn't say that. It wouldn't have just been fine. It would have been significantly more compelling because Sonata in the main event of Wrestle Kingdom challenging Zack, them putting on a 40+ minute match, that would have been a match of the year candidate. And Shota Umino losing to Sonata and then joining Bullet Club would have actually been interesting rather than a fucking head scratcher, which is what Sonata doing it was.
Let me ask you this in your opinion, because I still think just because I love Zach,
Yeah.
right? And I'm really excited. I mean, you giving that kind of endorsement to Zach as world champion goes a long way with me because I feel like you do have a higher bar for like the kind of wrestling Zach specializes in. And for you to say, oh, yeah, he's really good as world champion, he should have his own right, like that goes a long way with me. Do you feel like though that Umina tried in enough? Would you consider it like a worst match of the year contender that you were like utterly bored? Was it just kind of there for you? Because I'm seeing like in our chat here for this commentary that Javaris and Foster are both like 40+ minute, like what the fuck? And I'm inclined to agree. That's really long. Like I don't even think Danielson Osprey got that much time for their match. And I told you I had to watch it in 2 sittings. I feel like I'm gonna have to watch this match in 2 sittings. So how did you like feel about it?
So I managed to completely avoid spoiling Curtis because I was watching the show live and he must have woke up at some point during the show and then gone back and restarted it from the beginning. So I was watching stuff that was happening later on in the show from what he was seeing because he was watching, he was like basically trying to catch up, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And when Shota came out, his exact words were, "Man, no reaction for Shota. You can literally hear a pin drop."
Damn.
And when that is the reaction to the big baby face that's supposed to be coming out trying to triumph over the Gaijin heel champion that's been reigning over your company for the last few months, you're fucked.
Also, can I say too though, and again, like forgive me because I feel like the ignorant one in the room, right? I feel like the people in our Discord that actively talk about New Japan, and I feel like you're attentive enough with that. Like I feel like I'm the guy playing catch up because I thought Zach was babyface anyway. Like I
No,
thought the
you're
fans were
right.
happy he won
Apparently,
too long.
you are right. Zach is apparently a baby face. That was my mistake. But
Okay,
still,
yeah, I did not. You're fine. You're fine. I just want to stay clear.
Shota is, even if Zach isn't a heel, Shota is still supposed to be like heir apparent to Tanahashi next ace type material, and he comes out to fucking crickets in the
Yeah,
main event of Wrestle Kingdom.
bro, that alone might make him worst face of the year territory. That's bad.
You know what? Thank you for reminding me that that is a category of ours because I am going to pencil him in for that.
might
Yes.
I might want to watch it so I can justify me doing the same thing. Plus, I did give you the idea in the first place because that's bad, dude. Like, I'm not trying to
Because
be
here's
too
the
hard.
thing,
Yeah,
I like Shota Umino as a
yeah,
wrestler. I think
yeah.
he is a
Same.
good in ring performer,
Yeah,
but brother, he is not believable to me at all.
yeah,
He, like Ren Narita, he feels like he's cosplaying someone better than him.
bro. I hate to keep harping on this point, and you could tell. Like, I really after you're into awards and like how worked up I got about certain things, I'm like, look, you can be critical, but let's rein it in a little bit. I don't want to eviscerate Shota Umino or anything, but I never got like when Suji came out the first time, and I remember when he like debuted and he did that spear to was it Sonata? It was Sonata at the time
Yeah.
because he was the champion.
I think he might
Like
have even been Sonata's first big title defense.
I got the ace aura from him immediately.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this dude is fucking him, right? I'm and again, like I'm not even saying he should have made a minute. I do think it should have been Sonata in this spot. But like if you're looking for an ace, in my mind, Suji's right fucking there. I don't like I've
I
seen
mean, dude,
Umino
I've seen
wrestle.
people say that they still think that Yuya Uemura can be the ace. I've even seen people saying that they think that Zack's young lion Yohei Owa or Oiwa can be the next ace. But I think that something that's becoming very much unanimous among Western and Japanese fans alike at this point is that it is not Shoto Umino.
And it's funny because Foster comes in. Now, I do want to kind of defer to Foster because he has his finger on the pulse of New Japan, certainly more than myself. He says Umino thinks he's a Tanahashi, but really he's a Naito. He's trying too hard to be liked and respected right now. I find that fascinating because I do wonder if there's a better character for Shota Umino underneath.
Yeah.
If maybe like he kind of went on a little excursion or took some time to really find himself, if he would come back with something good. Because the last time I saw him, I really like he's a good in-ring worker, but I never saw him as a Wrestle Kingdom main eventer. I don't think he has the presence. Meanwhile, again, not to harp on this name, but I can only go by what I know. Suji, I look at and I'm like, that's a Wrestle Kingdom main eventer. That's a guy that, dude, he called out Okada recently and he said, like, he's just a geek that, gives middle fingers on TV or something. And I popped. Like somebody having the balls to call Okada a geek, and I'm sitting there and I'm kind of taking your side of the argument. That's awesome to me. Like, I don't know, man. It's such a shame with New Japan because I don't want to be too hard on them. I do want to like them. They gave us so much brilliant wrestling over the years before they really started to dip. And with Zach as world champion, that does pique my interest. But yeah, I just don't understand why it wasn't Sonata here. That confuses the fuck out of me.
Yeah. And basically that's my main thing. There were a lot of sequences in this match where again just Umino was just doing shit that just reminded me of way better wrestlers than him. Like he was doing some Tanahashi shit, he was doing some Okada shit, he was doing some Ibushi shit, he was even doing a little Naito shit. And it was a lot of Ibushi shit actually. He was channeling Ibushi a lot
You
in this
singled
match.
you singled Ibushi out in your
Yeah,
Blue Sky post
yeah,
specifically, and you said it made you miss the genuine article, which I
yeah,
don't blame you because Ibushi's insane.
yeah. It made me a little bit sad, honestly, because I don't know when we're gonna see Ibushi again. I know he has wrestled in 2024, like post ankle injury on that Noah show. I know that he did wrestle in the second half of 2024, like within the last few months, even.
Yeah,
But when I say I don't know if we're gonna see him again, what I mean is I don't know how soon he's going to get an opportunity to wrestle for a major promotion again, given what the last few performances he's had in major promotions have looked like. Because he had the weird, sluggish, like I don't even know how to describe a performance on that one AEW show in the cage match
yeah.
where he explained it later by being like, "Oh yeah, like there were fucking thumbtacks on the floor and they hurt my feet because I was like walking on like barefoot practically." And then like it was revealed that like there was actually something wrong with I think one of his knees. And then he had like a broken ankle that he went into that Noah match with, and then he broke his other ankle in the match because he was trying to compensate, and he fucked both his ankles. Like Ibushi, just get yourself fully well, please, before you come back.
Jamora said he's apparently been doing that. He's been posting workout videos and photos on Instagram, so I hope he's
Yeah,
really taking that time to get his body right and his mind right.
yeah, that's wonderful. That's awesome. But yeah, I do genuinely miss like late 2010s Ibushi specifically. Like there was like, yeah, it's Umino needs to find himself and stop trying so hard to emulate better wrestlers than him. Is really what it comes down to.
Honestly, as a side note, we were mentioning Ibushi. I know for a fact Ibushi and ZSJ have had great matches too. So now I'm thinking
Yeah.
about the alternate timeline where they main event Wrestle Kingdom. Good fucking god.
Well, and that's another thing too, though, dude. Is like I just said about how Umino needs to find himself and stop trying to emulate better wrestlers.
Yeah,
A run in Bullet Club would have been a perfect opportunity for him to do that.
yeah,
So that comes back to the match, the power struggle match where Umino beat Sonata. Literally, you just change that one booking decision, and it is such a massive net positive for everyone involved because then you get Sonata in the dome, main eventing where he fucking belongs. I mean, how many times have we gone through the past where we've seen those big popularity polls that one Japanese magazine does, where it'll be like Tanahashi at the top, and then like Ibushi or Naito, and then like Okada will like come in third or fourth, even though he was always like pushed as the top guy. But then like Sonata would be like right behind him, like fourth or fifth, even though he was never pushed as a main eventer at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Put Sonata in the fucking main event of the Dome against Zack, and then all of a sudden you have an actual compelling main event of the Dome. Put Umino in Bullet Club, and you give him an interesting character arc, which he desperately needs. I mean, even Curtis said something along those lines last night, or this morning, I should say. He was talking about how like Umino needs more of a character than just guy who challenges for championships and loses them. Like that's literally apparently Umino's entire character is just like he challenges for a lot of championships, but he never actually wins them. That's been his entire arc in New Japan, apparently.
Yeah, but like that arc means nothing unless you have a character that people resonate with.
Exactly. Like that's not a character. That's not
No,
actually a character. That's just
that's
an
something a
arc.
character
That's a
undergoes.
character arc, but that's not a character. That's
Precisely.
something that can like do things to your character. Like that's something that can, put pressure on your character and make your character change or do things, but it's not an actual character in and of itself.
Yeah. I still think I'm gonna check it out, and again, like, that might just give me fodder to also put Umino potentially as my horse, basically, because Tokyo Dome is a huge fucking crowd, and to not, like, get really any palpable kind of noise, like, that's concerning to me. Um, so anything else you wanna say about this?
No, no, I that was mostly what I wanted to say. I will say I am watching Wrestle Dynasty still. It's ongoing because obviously, like I said, it only started at 11, so it's probably not going to be over until like 3 in the morning or whatever. Kenny
Yeah.
Omega's big debut or his big return to wrestling is going to be happening in the main event of the show. Right now, Takeshita versus Ishii is on, so I can't be too unhappy about that.
Yes. Um, okay, so Super Blue was a crafty one, and he's been like slowly piping in questions while we've been having this broader discourse. So I need to get all of this organized. I feel like that was a general question, Super Blue, about Andrade. They never built it in my mind as a US title match. Just to answer that, it was always a non-title match to me. So I'm not too worried about that. Um, and then I think he asked something also. Wait, let me go up. This is why we got to just hold off on questions until I formally reintroduce the segment. I will admit I jumped the gun, and I know people like to come prepared, but it's just easier when it's more organized. Okay, so Super Bowl asked, "How do you feel about the results of Stardom and Kingdom?" We're going to talk about that later. We are planning on reacting to that, so we're not going to talk about that now. Just to address that, Super Bowl already answered you about Andrade. Um, let's see. Let's go down here. See. Um, I believe he asked, okay, yes. Do you think SmackDown going to 3 hours is part of the reason AEW killed Rampage? Tavares already kind of offered his own answer, but I never really thought about that. I don't even think that really crossed AEW's mind. I think they've got enough to worry about. So I'm just going to say no. I don't really have much.
I actually do believe that it had something to do with it, honestly. Because here's the thing, Rampage and Collision have both been hemorrhaging ratings hard. Collision ratings. I actually have a whole ass TV viewership numbers thread under wrestling news in our Discord,
Yeah.
and yeah, Collision has been horrible. Like literally, they've been basically competing with each other for viewership lately. And I don't mean literally in the sense that like they're literally competing against each other. Like it's like when one loses, the other one gains. I just more mean along the lines of like they're doing similar numbers to each other,
Yes.
like
Yes.
250K type numbers.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's safe to assume that just because Rampage was doing those types of numbers that that's why they got canceled. And I also don't think it's safe to assume that it's just because Dynamite is streaming on Max that they got canceled. I think if either one of those or even both of those reasons combined are the reasons that led to Rampage's cancellation, Collision would have been canceled too. I do
Yeah.
think that SmackDown going to 3 hours definitely contributed to it because SmackDown goes to 3 hours. Now, all of a sudden, your Rampage either needs to move to 11 p.m., which is going to cut the viewership even more, or you can stay at 10 p.m. and have your viewership cut into even more by that third hour of SmackDown. I don't think they wanted to do either one of those things. They already probably saw it as a sunk cost, and they just said, "Fuck it, let's just pull the plug."
Yes, I do apologize because it's kind of chaotic, like up in the chat with like so many messages. So I missed that Super Bowl also asked if we had any preview and predictions for Raw since we are watching and reacting to it this Monday. Um, I think just pretty quick for me, I think I'm gonna go with Solo winning the Ulafala. I think I'm
Yep.
going to lock myself in for that. I'm going to be bold
Yeah.
because I feel like just Roman having it again, I don't really see how that progresses his character. I'd like him to really lose something and to kind of self reflect because he's been an awful tribal chief pretty much the entire time.
Yeah.
But, especially now that he's supposed to be a babyface, that matters a lot more.
Yes.
Um, I'm going to say actually Seth Rollins beats CM Punk. I don't think
I'm
Punk.
gonna disagree with you on that. I'm gonna say Punk beats Seth.
Yeah, I don't think Triple H is as petty as Vince, but I don't know. I think they're gonna want to give Seth the first one because I definitely think they're gonna run it back. So I'm gonna say Seth. You're saying Punk. I'm gonna say I really want Rhea just to win the title because I really like the idea of Io winning the Rumble, but I'm starting to think that Liv just sneaks away with it. But you know what? I'm gonna go with Rhea winning the championship.
Same.
Oh, you agree? Actually, I thought you disagree with me on that. That's very interesting. Um, I'm gonna go Lyra winning the women's intercontinental title too. I know that's
Wait,
kind
is
of to
that?
go to
I
say.
thought no, that's not on Raw Netflix. That's the next week, dude.
Really?
Yeah, they pushed it back.
Wow. You have
Yep.
3 fucking hours and it's your Netflix premiere.
I know.
Wow.
Yep.
That okay.
Pissed me
Okay.
off when I found about it too. Yeah.
I'm sorry guys. I should have known about that. That's on me. But I definitely have opinions about that.
I'm picking Dakota for that though.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'll just give that out hand prediction anyway. Any other big matches I should know about because apparently my pants are fucking down right now.
Sammy Drew.
Oh, they're doing it again. I'm sticking to my fantasy booking guns, man. Drew wins. Sammy's not beating him until a world title's at stake.
Yeah,
Drew wins.
I agree.
Anything else?
From what I understand, that's it. Oh wait, no, Alex Foster's right. It's Jay Drew, not Sammy Drew.
Okay, okay. I'm glad they're not doing it again so soon.
I do
That's
think
actually a
Drew's
relief.
still winning though. To be fair.
I do still think Drew's winning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
All
you
right.
guys, because that actually is a relief to me. I want them to have some space now and again. Sammy finally beats Drew. There better be a world title at stake.
Yep.
All right. I think we'll just go to caster sales question.
Sure.
Do you think Legato is turning face since they're feeding with Pretty Deadly? No, I just think the WWE is more amenable to people that are usually dicks being dicks to each other. Which I'm personally totally cool with.
I think Pretty Deadly might be going face. Honestly, it's more likely.
Dude, they're great. I honestly like this is more just my pure like well, I guess everything is a wish list item, right? But what's quintessentially wish list for me, as in to say, I know this is devoid of logic and I understand that we're all, being responsible in the room. I do hope Pretty Deadly at a tag title run this year. I don't think that's happening, but that would pop me hard. Um Abel, do you think WWE will have an oversaturation problem with 8+ hours of wrestling every week? Bro, I thought they already had an oversaturation problem. I think pro wrestling in a way has an oversaturation problem, especially under capitalism. You're producing all this content, but nobody's really being moved forward. Um, so I already felt like the industry had this problem, and WWE, obviously being a titan of it, was a huge contributor to the problem. Like the US and China are big contributors to fucking carbon emissions. Um, so, like every country in a way contributes to climate change. It's just some are bigger contributors than others. So yeah, I definitely think that this is going to exacerbate it. I hate that SmackDown is 3 hours now. Um, the only thing that makes me lighten up on it just a tad is they apparently learned from when Raw originally went 3 hours, and they're like, "Oh, we can use this extra time to push the undercard." And I know Blair Davenport was a specific name from the reports that has come to mind, which I am not against. I think
Yeah.
Blair is very talented
For
in the ring.
SmackDown though, specifically, is always strong.
Yes, yes, for SmackDown. Um, so maybe it'll be good. I'm very averse to change in a lot of things. That's just kind of a
Yeah.
personality quirk of mine. So I'm gonna resist this hard at first, but then like within 6 months, I'll settle into the flow and we'll accept it like we do for years with WWE and we'll continue to do until we're dead. So that's just really kind of how I see it.
Bro, Ishii just hit a fucking top rope Frankensteiner on fucking Takeshita.
Is there any limit to what he can do? God damn.
Dude, do you know how old he is?
How old is he now? Like what, 48?
9.
I mean, look, the only thing he can do is like grow neck, end of list. I mean, he's
And
incredible.
apparently reverse aging too.
And apparently reverse it, but don't tell him that with the moves he's still doing. That's
Oh
fucking nuts.
God, I love him.
Um,
I've missed our pupper so much,
I've missed the New Japan we fell in love with, partly because of our
dude.
pupper so much.
Yeah, the
Uh,
late 2010s New Japan, man. Yeah, that's another thing I was doing in the live wrestling discussion.
yeah,
If you would list every single January 4th Tokyo Dome show that New Japan has run since they started running it in 1992, which means that there have been 34 now. So 34 total of them, right?
yeah.
The bottom 6 lowest attendances are, and not in any specific order, but the bottom 6 attendances are Wrestle Kingdom 10 and the 5 most recent Wrestle Kingdoms.
Jeez, you know, in a very perverse way, I'm kind of relieved because you and I talk about this all the time. We're getting older. I have been very upfront about how I feel my feelings have changed about pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if it's that I have a higher I think it's a combination of having a higher bar, knowing what I like and what I don't like, and then just having other interests in my life at this point. Um, but I also know sometimes you and I wonder, like, is it us? Like, are we jaded? But
No,
no, like,
yeah,
yeah,
New Japan's, yeah, genuinely just a dead fed, genuinely. Like
yeah.
this particular Wrestle Kingdom is the third lowest attended Wrestle Kingdom of all time, with the other top two being COVID years, 2021 and 2022.
But like I'm the guy looking at the data and I'm like, you know why that's bad, right? Because like before, you had a global fucking pandemic to fall back
Exactly.
on.
Yeah. Because like in even I looked like 2021, it was January of 2021, so it was literally only like 10 months into pandemic. Like people are freaked out, they're being spaced apart, like all kinds of precautions are being taken. Even 2022 though, I looked, they still had a 10-day quarantine requirement for people coming into Japan from other countries. Like that's how
Yeah.
safe Japan played it. They waited until, oh shit, Takeshita just won. Wow, he just won with a Falcon arrow basically. Anyway, but yeah, they waited that long. Like even in January of 2022, I saw something about how like at the end of January, it was like somewhere in like the late 20s, like 27th or 29th or something. They reduced the mandated quarantine time for people coming into the country from 10 to 7. But what that means is that on January 4th, it was still 10. Like that's
Yeah.
how much they still were like worried about the pandemic in January and early January of 2022. And January 2022 and January 2021 are the two lowest rated, lowest attended Wrestle Kingdoms of all time. The next lowest attended is Wrestle Kingdom 19 this year.
That's crazy. Real quick, Super Blue. The reason I didn't answer that is I thought you were just asking that kind of generally when we were reviewing NXT. That's sometimes I get confused when you're asking questions and when you're like making comments or just like openly curious. I just assumed Trick got it because I think Trick even took the award because they voted for him. So I think it was yeah, I think Trick won NXT Superstar of the Year. As far as your actual question that I acknowledge in this segment, you said, "How do you feel about the Acclaimed on the verge of breaking up? Caster has been acting more heel, and Bowman, or isn't it Bowens?
Yeah,
Anthony
Anthony
Bowens.
Bowens.
Okay, yeah. So I knew that sounded weird in my mouth. Bowens is still face, and let Caster get wasted by the Hurt Business for being an asshole. Uh Super Lou, I wish I could give you a more genuine answer. I really don't want to be dismissive and cynical. I just don't watch AEW, so I don't know. I like the Acclaimed as a tag team. I will say this, and maybe this is me being the dick after I just said I don't want to be one. I never saw either guy as a successful singles guy apart from the other one.
No.
I see them as tag team for life, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just ask the Bucks. Like you can make a whole career out of being a tag team, and especially when your gimmick seems over, like it is with AEW, you could still eat good. You would have to reinvent yourself inevitably, and I actually do credit the Young Bucks with this whole EVP gimmick and stuff like that. But I feel like you could still ride the wave. I don't know why AEW is trying to tease a breakup unless they're really pissed at one of these guys or both, and they're trying to kill both their careers. So I don't like their prospect. If I'm just being honest again, I can't be not honest. So I just don't see it for them. I don't like it. Um, any other questions? Now I think we've got everything in order, so I feel calm because I feel like everything's been combed through. Any other questions, guys?
We didn't miss any questions, did we?
I don't think we did. Because you answered Javaris even in the chat about the Ibushi thing. So, like,
Yeah, he's worried about Ibushi. But like, here's the thing: um, Wrestle Kingdom 14, which was January of 2020, Ibushi main evented against Okada, and
yeah,
Okada wasn't as big of a draw in Japan as like Tanahashi, or even like Naito once he kind of got like to be a bigger deal, like with the El Ingobernable gimmick and stuff. Um, and Ibushi drew 40,000 people on night one. And
right.
then, and you know that that was him because they were doing this whole thing about Jushin Thunder Liger's retirement, but they also made it very explicit that that was going to be a night two thing. And night two drew 30,000 people. And you can, and that was night two was Naito Okada as the
Yes.
main event, but that also had Liger retirement match on the undercard. So you, even if you don't want to give full credit to the main event there, it doesn't really matter for Ibushi because he was night one, and that was the 40,000 people show. So
Yes. Yes.
you can relax, Javaris. Ibushi does a great job of drawing fans in Japan.
There you go. Abel asking, is this Mercedes Monet's year? Maybe. It seems like she's on the come up again and ring wise.
I think her year
I've
started towards the second and the tail end of 2024, honestly. But like, yeah, if we're talking like January to December full calendar year, I do definitely think this is her year. Yeah,
It's exciting. I mean, I've really cooled off on her for a myriad of reasons. But I'm glad people are remembering who the hell she is. And
yeah,
just as far as like put respect on my name kind of thing. Um, so yeah. Any other questions? I know Javaris kind of pushed back because he said, no, I meant when Ibushi won the title and that whole thing. Um,
yeah.
I'll
No,
let
I
you run for him.
understand what you're saying. You're talking about in 2021 Wrestle Kingdom 15 when Ibushi became God, like when he won
Yeah.
both titles and then successfully retained them against Jay White the night after. But like attendance numbers that year, it didn't matter who main evented because it was COVID year. Like there were huge restrictions on attendance because of COVID. They literally like artificially limited the attendance capacity to 20,000 people for both nights.
Yeah.
So like yeah, it literally doesn't matter how much of a money draw or anything like that Ibushi would be. They could have put fucking Kenta Kobashi versus Hiroshi Tanahashi in the main event, and it still couldn't have possibly drawn more than 20,000 people.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what though? Kudos to Japan for actually taking seriously a global pandemic. Who would
Yeah,
have thunk?
yeah.
So
I mean, they
that's
still ran shows,
yeah.
but like, yeah, they took some precautions at least.
Okay. Any other questions?
Cuestiones.
Surprised I don't think Caster Sales does anything, and I know he's here. His big thing this week was talking about how the Ulafala is evil. It's a corruptible force. Right, going once, going twice.
What? Oh, it's Hiromu.
Closing the gate, people. I was looking at my wrist on a watch that doesn't even exist. All right. Next segment. Every day, Abel. Every day. Um, high
Yes, I did
spots.
acknowledge Solo Sokoa today.
You were way too proud of yourself for that one. Did you snicker a little bit? I thought I heard
No,
that.
I may have laughed internally, but I didn't snicker.
Fair. Okay. Okay. My apologies. I shouldn't have called you out like that. High spots and low shots. Um,
I will just said, wow.
you know what? As much as it pains me to do it, I think my low shot is Sol Ruka.
Yeah, that's
Because
fair.
you went from being in Women's Iron Survivor and actually being one of the stars of the match, in my opinion, to losing to Izzy Dame. Wow, who's good, but I mean the booking though. So Rough week for
Yeah,
her.
I mean, you became the first woman that Izzy Dame has gotten a televised win over, other than Brinley Reese.
Ooh, who's your low shot?
Yeah, big oof. I think my um, you know what? We've covered so much this week. My low shot's Shota Umino.
I'll say. um, because we covered so much this week, would it be anybody else? My high spot is Utami, our new Monte Gold World
I love
Champion.
that. Yeah.
Long may she reign. I am so proud of her. I am so happy for her. It didn't break my match of the year ceiling. I really think Julia and Roxanne are going to do it, but don't get it twisted. It is my front runner for markout moment of the year. And that's saying something because I got spoiled on that match before we even reacted to it. But I didn't care. Those two worked me hard enough. And I was just so genuinely just thrilled for Utami. She beat Sari. She beat the seemingly unbeatable because that woman, and I'll say something about Sari too. What a worker. What a fucking worker she is. Jesus Christ. So yeah, easy fucking pick. Tommy's my high spot. Who is your high spot, good sir?
I will say honorable high or honorable low shot just retroactively. I'm going to sign on with Abel here. Nia Jax is a really good honorable low shot.
Yes, I mean it was a rough week for her.
Yeah. High spot. I want to give honorable just one. I think just one honorable high spot to Victoria Yuzuki,
Yes.
because even though she did have a few little slip ups in the match, I think she still had a relatively good match otherwise, and she won.
Yes.
She won the
Yes.
super flyweight title from Monte Gold, which is wonderful. But my actual high spot, though, believe it or not, is going to go to Mercedes Monet for defeating Mina Shirakawa and winning that Rev Pro British Women's Championship, becoming 4 belts Mercedes in the year of our Lord 2025.
Yes.
And also
Yes.
just kind of really like reassuring everyone, like, no, I'm not washed. It's Britt Baker who sucks.
Yes. And Super Blue, because I like you and I know you've already struggled enough being an LA Knight fan, I will answer this question for you. What do you think Cena will do on Monday? Promo. To get interrupted
No,
maybe by Gunther
I
because I know
actually
that's what
have
happens this week.
an actual thing that he's probably going to do: declare for the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So I'll sign on to that. I still think though he might get interrupted by Gunther, just kind of feeling himself, being like,
Maybe
"What's
that
up?"
would be perfect. Just really plant the seed, baby. God, that would pop so hard if they did that. Oh yeah.
Well, it's appropriate that it would be perfect because it originally emanated from your face. So with that said, this has been TwitWoW. This has been the weekend review. We are the best wrestling podcast in all the IWC. With how the IWC is changing, we might be the only wrestling podcast left before too long. God.
Wait, what does that mean?
Um, well, I mean, isn't OTRS Central isn't the big thing right now in the community? We even got a Q&A question
Oh,
about it retiring. And like, I know other people are kind of veering more into
bro.
politics.
I mean,
Uh,
maybe if you want to
yeah.
call us the last United States-based wrestling podcast, but they're all the fucking UK people now.
That is true. You know what? Good for them. And good for them. They have really shitty wrestling over there, but it's good that they get to talk about it.
They just love their New Japan and AEW, though. That's their whole thing.
You know what? And I mean this sincerely. I hope both companies get better for them because I know it is rough out here being a commentator when you're not enjoying what you're supposed to be commentating on and just talking about. So I hope it gets better to them. And if they're enjoying it already, then I appreciate their bliss and I'm happy for them. I cannot join them there, unfortunately. Um, Yeah, that reminds me, Jeff Jarrett apparently referred to himself as like the last outlaw or something, and I'm like, God, I kind of vibed with it when Undertaker said it because of the mystique, but now he, of course, we know what a piece of garbage he is. And
Yeah.
and Jarrett saying it when you never even made any money. Like I know Undertaker was never a big draw, much like he was probably perceived to be by a lot of people, which I totally get because I felt the same way. But then you find out he really wasn't that big of a draw. He certainly made more money than Jeff fucking Jarrett did, though. I'd fight anybody on that. So I don't know where Jarrett's getting that confidence from. I want to be AEW World Champion. Yeah, and I want my life narrated by Morgan Freeman. The only difference is AEW is ridiculous enough that they might actually give you what you want. So life's unfair, everybody. Uh, Leave a like as you file out. Subscribe. Click the bell icon for notifications so you don't miss any of that 12 goodness. Check out everything we're involved in the description box. Follow us on Twitter and Twitch. Excuse me, Blue Sky. I still do it occasionally.
Oh baby,
Fuck
you
Elon.
you made the save. Great job, bud. Proud of you.
Yeah, yeah, I did. I did. My face is imperfect after all, people. I need your patience. But yes, Blue Sky and Twitch. So be sure to follow us there. And yeah, I guess with that, shout out again to Sean for making this happen. He donated to us, and I just think he's marvelous. And he's like, "Hey, would you guys react to the Raw premiere on Netflix?" And we were just like, "Sure, King, we got you." So we are now live reacting to the show. I am genuinely curious, how ads are going to be because freaking Saturday Night's Main Event was still airing on NBC. It was a Peacock NBC kind of crossover thing. Here with Raw, given that it's not on USA, it is just Netflix. Maybe the ads will truly only be 15 seconds, maybe at most a minute. I can deal with that. I can deal with that. Some of those ads on didn't you even clock the ad time for Saturday Night's Main Event? And some of them were like 5 minutes even. That's
My
insane.
mom was keeping track. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I mean, I know capitalism and I know it's going to outlive me and probably, human life on this planet, but yeah, I mean, it's just a little excessive. So maybe rein that in. And I'm hoping that's what Netflix does. Especially because I do not have ad-free Netflix, but the ads currently when we do watch content where I get ads isn't really that bad. So I'm actually, yeah, I'm thinking this is going to be okay. So you can join us Monday then at 8. We're going wire to wire right into the whole show. Hopefully it's good. Maybe we'll even get some more candidates for our list, whether best of or worst of. We'll see. We hope to see you there. Until then, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Tune in and peace out.